So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the day through training program of ours. I believe my audio is reaching to everyone.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Okay.
fine. So as we discussed, let's start with our day three training program with the file called data analysis. So go to our sample case studies folder and open the file data analysis. So you'll be having a worksheet like this summary table. Kindly confirm the same worksheet is open in front of your screen. Wipe or yes quickly in the chat box. File name data analysis, sheet name summary table. All right. So let me first take you through the data, what we have with us, and what is the objective on that. Then we'll start working together on the same. Uh, all right. Now, so let me put it in a story format so that everybody can connect with it. Suppose say morning 9:30, I dropped into office. All right. And my boss immediately called me. Pravas, please come to my cabin. I need to discuss something with you. I just went to his cabin and immediately he started saying that, Prabhas, I was just going through the reports, whatever monthly reports we are submitting to the management. I don't find the quality of information. It seems as if some ready-made numbers we have downloaded from SAP and we have presented the same to the management. And in fact, I was there in the last committee meeting over there, and I found that none of the audience also quite happy watching the same. So let's do something different this time. This is what my boss started saying. So what he's up to, so he's saying me, do one thing, just download last 3 years revenue data from SAP and bring it to me. Then we'll start working with that. So I gave my respective T code. I downloaded a report from SAP and I found last 3 years data near about 1 lakh line items. It comes in this format. So what is this format about? Like we have got customer names, we have got product type, and these are what the products we are producing or manufacturing and selling to our customers over there. And these are the salesmen we have engaged to generate the revenue on behalf of the organization. Now, these are the different regions we export our products. Order date is nothing but the invoice date or billing date, you can say. Sales in terms of US dollar, we are making the billing. You can consider INR also, no issues. Year of incurrence of sale, month, quarter, and intermediate channel partner, if any, that list is also completely available with us. So, having said this kind of huge data, the moment I download and I present it to my boss, he's saying, Prabhas, this data is of no use for me. Keep it with you. I just want a summary out of this. What is that summary? Like during the last 3 years, whatever the products we have sold to our customers, how much revenue we have made, I want to have a report. So one thing we have understood, we have a huge volume of data and boss is expecting the data to be presented in terms of a summary report, tabular report, or a crispy presentation, right? So in this case, what is the first thing it comes to our mind if I want to prepare a summary or a tabular report? Definitely, the first thing it comes to our mind is called pivot table. Do you all agree?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. Right. So now, no doubt, you might be already working with our pivot table, or you might be working for the first time, could be the case, no worries. But the first thing is, we never realize for a while whether our data is ready for pivot. We know that we need to use pivot table. but we never pay attention whether our data is ready for pivot or not. And this is the reason why we always face some challenges. But going forward, we are not going to commit that mistake. So the first thing first is whenever you have the data and you want to prepare a pivot out of this, you got to satisfy three validation rules. Rule number one, the data, whatever you have taken, it must contain a column headers or field headers. Without field header, pivot is not possible. You have to design the same if it is not available. And none of the column headers should be duplicate. There should not be any duplicate column header name. Say, I want to retain customer in two columns. You can, but you should name it as customer one, customer two, something like this. So there should be a unique column header name over there. Now, rule number two, the amount of data, whatever we have captured or downloaded or received somewhere, you have to ensure that there is no blanks at all. But how to ensure that, how to confirm that? Select your data. In day two, we discuss something called data clean one, where you have to go for Control G. So G for gamma, G for Goa, the moment I go for it, this kind of go to dialog box will appear. Start working with me. Select your data, go for Control G. There will be a tab called Special. And this special tab, when you click, it will take you to a dialog box where you could see the option called blanks. And all these things we have already discussed in day two, if you remember. Now, the moment you click OK, you will find that a message completely like saying no cells were found. I believe everybody must have received the same.
Yes.
Right. So this is a confirmation. This is a confirmation that we do not have any blanks over there in our data. All right. Now, rule number three. In any of the column of our data set, there should not be any merged cells. In any of the column, there should not be any merged cells. So what is that meaning by over here? Ideally, what it happens, people, we have a very bad practice. Sometimes if there is a need, we select multiple cells, we combine them or we merge them and we define a header to that. That is meant only for display, not for the calculations, because most of our Excel functionalities doesn't read our merge data. So it is always better. You should avoid using the merge cells because merge cells, if you have no idea or you have no options how to trace it out. Blindly, we have to follow selecting the entire the data. Then we have to go for home tab on merge cells. And then we have to go for filtering all the cells and all this tedious process we have to go for if you want to deal with the merged data. So this is always better, make a thumb rule, avoid using the merged cells if you want to go for pivot or any other kind of formula or function based calculations. So these are the basic three rules you must always satisfy whenever you go for pivot table out of any sort of data. All right. So rules are clear. Now, what's the next level? Like as I told you in our day two, when you download the data from SAP or ERP, there are two areas always you'll be finding the trouble. One, number column will not be in number format. Second, date column will not be in date format. So unless and until you clean them and confirm that this data is compliant with the right format, your data is not ready for next level. And this is what we have already discussed in data clean 2 in our day 2 topics. So now we are going to deal with the same. So let's go to our data. We have a field called order date. So keep your cursor in the first date value of the order date column and select the rest. So now the question is how to confirm whether my date is there in proper date format. If you remember in day one, I told you to convert any format to date format. What was the keyboard shortcut? Anybody?
Control Shift 2,
No, Control Shift 3, 2 for
3.
time. Yeah, Control Shift 3. So go for Control Shift 3. And is it changing the format? Is it making the data into a readable date format? Yes. So this is what the best way to confirm our date is there in proper date format since all these changes are happening. All right. So how to confirm whether our date is there in proper date format, we got the basic understanding. Now go to our number column, sales USD. The first invoice value, you can keep your cursor there, okay? And then select the rest. And now the question is how to confirm whether our numbers are there in proper number format. I told you in day one again, to convert any format to number format. What is the shortcut?
Control Shift 4, 4 5.
Control Shift 4 for currency, Control
Current.
Shift
Control Shift
5 for
1.
percentage,
Control
Control
Shift
Shift 1. Very good. Control Shift 1. So any format to number format, Control Shift 1. So this is the only reason why I was insisting you to practice well. You have got 7 days of time because all these things you will be needing the most in the future course of action also. All right. So now Control Shift 1, converting the data into proper number format. But post decimal, we have the characters 00 doesn't play any role. You need to remove the same. How to remove? Alt H9, Alt H9. Right? Now, there is one more problem over here I would like to highlight. Just watch my screen. If you look at our order date and year and month, can you identify what is the problem?
Pen or paper too.
Right? So if you look at our date is there, no doubt, but date is showing of year 2019, but year is showing 2014. This is the first problem. If you look at the month, month is of January, but here it is showing the month of December. So this is what the problem. Hope you now connect with that. So technically that's not possible, but it is showing something. So we need to rectify this. I told you the other day how to extract a year from a date. What we can do, we can go for a simple year formula and taking the date, order date, and the moment I hit enter, this is going to give me 2019 over there. Now the same I can apply for others. So this is how our year formula will be helping us to extract the year. Kindly confirm. Now, once we have done with this over here, go to our month column. So how to extract a month from a date? In day one, I told you, what is the formula? Should we use for text formula? Yes. So we go for equal to text, taking the value that is called our order date. What we need the format text is the month. So month we should write within two double inverted quotes over here, M4 times to get the complete string of the month. And the moment you hit enter, this is going to give you the first month and the same we can apply for others. So this is how month column also we have rectified. All right. This is for month.
Hello, Prabhas. Mamta this side. Sorry, I joined late.
Yes,
Uh,
Mamta.
which tab it is?
It's not tab, it's a separate file called data analysis.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. In data analysis file, we have dealt with the date column and the date column is in proper date format. We have checked. Then we have gone to the year format, year column, and to extract the year from a date, we use the year formula. Then we go to the month column, and to bring the month from the date, we use the text formula. And we have rectified those two columns.
Okay.
So kindly confirm everybody that you have rectified these two columns.
Yes.
Right. All right. Now, once we have done with this, our data is ready for next level. So the last thing, do not ever forget to do, select your data completely and convert your data into table. So in day two, I told you how to convert your data into table.
Control T.
Control T, very good. So when you go for Control T, T for Tango, T for table, it will take you to a dialog box like this. And the moment you hit OK or enter, the data will be converted into table. So this is what the setup people first 5 minutes is very, very essential. Looking at the data, what are the things to be confirmed? And you have to ensure that all these things are complied with the right formats. And finally, converting the data into table, we have done with our data understanding. Now, once it is ready, keep your cursor anywhere in the dataset and go to insert. The very first option you have called pivot table. So here, one thing you need to know in pivot table, there are two sections. One is called icon and the other one is called navigation. Never ever go and navigate this data report. Always go for the icon only. Okay, so now let's go for that. Going to insert over here, pivot table. And when you click the icon, it will take you to a dialog box stating that entire data, whatever we had, it has converted into a table. Well, no problem. Now it is asking where you want to replace your report. It's in a new set. Okay, always we want the new sheet only because the report will be neat and clean. Now, having said this, the moment you click OK, with immediate effect, you will be finding a new sheet is going to be generated over here and taking the dialog box from the right side over here, where you could see all the field list or the column headers are listed. So this is called our field list box. And towards right side, you could see small boxes kind of structures are there. This is called field area. So we have only one job left. Taking the right field over here, we need to just drag and drop, drag and drop, drag and drop, and drag and drop. This is the only action we need to initiate. But before proceeding further with that, if you just have a glance towards your left, there is a box over here. So this is the box where pivot table is going to be generated. And within that box, you see a gray color box is also there. And this is the place where we are going to have the pivot table name. So each and every pivot table, they will be have their own unique name. Now, having said this, we are clear. But the thing is, in our case, if you look at my layout is not matching with yours. So this layout, if you look at of mine, it is giving enough space to work with. But when you go for your screen, you'll be finding it is not giving that kind of look or feel. And if you compare also, my layout is giving enough space, but your layout is not giving that much of space. So now the question is how to bring the same layout in across all the screens. So this is a one-time task. What you need to do is there is a settings button over here, gear button settings, go for that. And the second option from the top, you will be finding that field section and area section side by side. Go for it. And the moment you click, with immediate effect, you'll be getting the similar layout just like me. Kindly confirm.
Yes.
Right. So this is the one-time task, people, you have to do so that you can work conveniently.
Prabhas, can you
Yep.
say once again?
Yeah.
Here, where
Go.
we have to go? Which
Yeah, I
one
have
we have to select?
already highlighted in the screen. See, there is a settings button over here. Can you see my
Second
screen?
one. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Second one.
Yes, second one.
Okay, okay.
Right. Now, coming back to the data population. See, as my boss was asking, what is that report? Last 3 years revenue data based on the product. So here I can take one field, but where to drop it? I can drag, but where to drop it? I have got 4 different choices. So we need to follow a rule there also. What is the rule? If you see, there is a sigma value one field is there. So this is a simple message that whichever the column you are going to take, if it contains the numbers, and you want to play around with your functions or formulas, then you must populate in the value field area. Say, if I consider my report with whatever my boss has asked, that what is saying Last 3 years revenue data. Revenue data is the billing column. Billing column, sales USD. Is it containing numbers? Yes. So if it is containing numbers, what is the place we have to place with? Definitely in the values. So just bring drag and drop sales USD in the value field area. So first field we have got it, sales USD. Now, last 3 years revenue data. Well, there's a year field is also there. Take that into the column area. Okay. Now, next, 3 years data will be turning up, no doubt about it. But based on what? Based on the product. So take product to the row area and see the beauty. A beautiful pivot table is going to turn up and having the total of 3199253. Kindly confirm.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, once we have done with this, next, though our pivot is ready, people, but we cannot dispatch this report to the next level. As I have been telling you since day one, that whenever you prepare your data or you convert something to report, always care for a bit of your presentation part because your presentation is going to make you something different from others. So in this case, what is that it is missing? The pivot table, whatever we have created, people, the look and feel of the pivot is not looking so great. So how to make it better? So first thing first, keep your cursor in the pivot table anywhere, and you can notice on your ribbon tab, two options are activated, naming called Analyze or Pivot Table Analyze, and the other one we have an option called Design. Okay, so when you go and navigate to the Design tab, there are many more styles will be available. And now here, you can take more button. It will open up with three broad categories: light, medium, and dark. I told you always take light to medium. Do not take the dark options because that will be occupying more space and more color, more space. We know that very well. Now, having said this, the moment I go for this over here, suppose say in the case of some medium, I choose and this medium when I go and apply, can you see somewhat looking better compared to the previous version? So this is what the first thing you should do, go for minimum formatting of the pivot table. Then if you look at our pivot, this bold, Genix Nano, Hexa, Indica, Indigo, these all are our product names, isn't it? Whatever we have presented over here, these are all our product names. Do you all agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, if you look at the header, what it is showing? It is showing row label. Similarly, if you go for 2019, 2020, 2021, ideally they are the years. But what it is showing? It is
Total
showing?
revenue.
No, 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 no. See, in case of products, it's showing row label. In case of years, it is showing column label. So
Yeah.
it is taking always the default header of pivot. And that doesn't make any sense because a layman, if he's watching my data, how he will know these are all my products or it's our inventory items or is it the accessories or is it something else? So
Mm.
basically in one line, if I want to say whatever our respective column headers are there,
Mm.
that should populate in the pivot table, but technically which is not happening. So this is the place where how to get our column header name. Let's discuss. Our experts, they will suggest you, Pravas, don't worry, go on manually change, edit the fields. Don't do that. Because if you do so, then what will be happening? Today you will
Pivot
not
will
have
not
any,
allow.
no, 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 pivot will what? Today you will not have any impact. Tomorrow, when you learn Excel VBA macro to automate your report or pivot table report, and the
Mm.
moment you click the macro button, the macro will not run. It will stop since you have changed the field names manually. So never ever change the pivot table field manually over there. Now, having said this, the moment we go for it, how to bring it on? I'll tell you a very simple way, very beautiful feature is there. Keep your cursor in the pivot anywhere and go to the design tab. In the extreme right, there is a design button will be activated. So go to the design tab and over there, you can see from the extreme left, if you start counting the third one, report layout, we do have an option called over here, show in tabular form. Show in tabular form. So when I go for show in tabular form, can you see it has automatically adopted the same field name as it is whatever we had in our source data sheet?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is what the minimum interface arrangements of the pivot table you must do before dispatching the same to the next level. Now, once we have done with this, if you remember, I told you in our day one and day two as well that whenever you present your data as it is nowadays, audience doesn't like it. So what audience is expecting? That you should present your data in such a way it should tell a beautiful story to the people. So now the question is how to present our data in a beautiful storytelling format. So what we can do for that, just see, keep your cursor next to your grand total, keep your cursor in the grand total column, any cell, grand total column, any cell, just keep your cursor and right click on that. You will be finding one option called sort. And when you go to the sort inside, you'll be finding sort option largest to smallest. All of you are getting? And once you click, what is the story? We get it. Like from Indica, we got the maximum revenue, and from Jest, we got the least revenue. Any layman also sitting in the audience side, he can make out this much. Do you all agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So this is how you should keep creating your pivot table. So we have understood how to create our first pivot table from a dump data, satisfying all the validation rules, doing the minimum formatting, doing the necessary checks on the columns, and converting the data into table, creating the pivot, doing the minimum formatting in the pivot, and dealing with the proper field headers, and finally presenting our data in a beautiful storytelling format. So this is what the story of our first pivot table. Now let's do one thing. Go to our sheet tab and there, whatever is there, sheet one, just rename this the way I'm doing exactly. Pivot, bracket open, one, bracket close. All right. So pivot one, we have defined over here. Now do one thing. Keep your cursor in that pivot one sheet tab and holding the control button, drag it to the right. So you find automatically a clone of your pivot will be turning up, naming called pivot table number two. All right.
Sir, or just I missed that thing that how that pivot one is coming. This is manually put it you or
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah. Pivot one, we typed it manually. We just typed
okay,
it manually.
okay, 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 okay.
The- And now you have to just select and holding the control button, you have to drag to the right. Automatically, it will generate as pivot two.
Okay.
Yeah. So pivot two is ready for all of you.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I'm
Right.
not able to copy it. How did you do it, Prabhas?
Holding
Control?
the only see, keeping the cursor in pivot one and
Mhm.
hold the control button and drag it to the right.
Okay.
If you feel this is bit troublesome for you or challenging one, I will make your job easy. Just see, right click on pivot one sheet tab. You will be getting an option called move or copy also. And when you go for move or copy, then it will take you to a dialog box where you have to choose create a copy. And once you select this create a copy button and click OK, similar fashion, one more pivot is going to turn up, but that will be coming towards your left. But this is what we are bringing to the right side. So there is a difference. Okay. So there's this or that, but this will be quite of long route. That's why I just made it very shortcut over there by holding the control button. Now coming back to pivot two. What else we can do with regard to pivot table? Let's focus. See, this is what I have prepared and I have presented to my boss. My boss is quite happy watching the same, and he's telling me, Prabhas, you have given me a beautiful report. Last 3 years revenue data in 3 columns and all the products in the rows I'm getting. So this is a perfect picture. I'm able to analyze the report, no issues, no worries. But what I want to do is I want to do some deep dive analysis upon the same, or I want to go for some macro level of analysis upon the same. So macro level of analysis or deep dive analysis, वो होता क्या है? Let's go for it. The moment you go for our year-wise data, what is the maximum you can do if you want to go for in-depth calculation? If you want to go deeper into that, we can go for month-wise calculations also. So same thing my boss is also expecting. Now, first thing first, we just need to check, do we have a field called month? Yes. So our job is easy. Now, only thing is bring this month to the row area. So when you bring this month to the row area, your pivot structure changes. Can you see? So all of you got the same structure,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Now, just here, take a pause and focus on my story. See, one thing always remember, whenever you prepare a pivot table, each and every pivot, they have their own unique story. So before dispatching the pivot to the next level, we need to first confirm what kind of story my pivot is going to convey to the people. So here, if you look at over here, take a look. The data is ready, no doubt. 3 years revenue data, perfect. What was the next input boss was demanding? Month-wise report. Do you have the month-wise field also? Yes. But if you take a larger picture, if you look at the entire pivot as a keeping yourself in the audience shoes, what it seems, though month is there, but my entire report is still preferring to the column product description. So product description is still playing the primary role. But did you believe anywhere boss has ever demanded? Has he ever focused on the product description? No. He said last 3 years revenue data based on the month I am expecting. So he has never mentioned about the product. But here product is playing the primary role. So this is the place where it has gone wrong. So how to give more preference to now over here instead of product? Rather, I can go for month. So for that, what you need to do, just see. If you look at our row area, product description is the first column, month is the second one, right? So bring product description below to the month. Just interchange the field, switch the field and see the beauty. So immediately the entire story changes of our pivot, right? So now, though I have got my 3 years data, but month is playing the primary role and product becomes secondary. So this is how a simply interchanging of the fields, the whole pivot story also changes. We got the basic understanding. Hope it is clear, able to get that. Any questions as such? Anybody?
Can you repeat? I have to interchange from month to product description. That is what you are saying.
In the row area, you have got product description, the first field, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That one you hold it and drag it below to the month,
Okay.
right? So this is how simply interchanging the fields, entire pivot story changes, and you can play around with your data by changing the fields like this, and you can turn up into beautiful different stories. So I believe everyone is clear so far, whatever we did.
Yes.
Right. Now, when I have made all these things, now my boss has given the focus, the data area. So when he is watching, there are many more cells having the blanks. Can you see when you scroll down? So many cells, we have the blank cells. Do you have the same? Definitely.
Yes, sir.
So he's asking a question, Prabhas, why there are so many blanks? Anybody will ask. So if I have sent this report to my boss, marking CC to other 4 people, same question, all the 5 people are going to ask. Now, what should be the answer for this? Why there are blanks?
Fill the blanks. Go to.
What's the reason having blanks? Because if you remember, we discussed about three validation rules of our pivot. Our data should not contain any kind of blanks. We discussed all these things.
Yes, sir.
Still, we have the blanks. So what does it mean? Yes, any guess? No idea. It's a simple message. If you want to discuss about this, it is a simple message that there is no data of that combinations. Like during the year 2019, if I'm looking for Jan month, with regard to the jest, we have never raised a single invoice. Do you agree? So
Yes.
it's not necessary, it's not mandatory that in pivot, each and every cell must contain the value. So when there is no such kind of combination, pivot will definitely leave the cell as blank. But this is what we have understood since we are dealing with the data. But the moment we are presenting the same to the audience, they will not understand. They will ask questions. So now the question is, when I'm going to explain the same story to five different people, whomever I have sent the report for five different times, whose premium time is being wasted? These people. So whose time is being wasted?
Our time only.
Definitely. So our time is whose time? Our time is not ours. Our time is the organization's time. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Right. So when the time is being consumed and we are getting waste of time, who is held responsible for that? Can I blame to my audience at any point of time? Can I say that I am not getting the right type of audience? They don't understand my data. They are keeping like keep asking unwanted questions. Can I say something like that? So when we are preparing the data, it is for whom? It is for the audience only. So if your audience is not clear, they are not, I mean, they are not able to get in touch. I mean, they are not able to get the message over there from my data. Somewhere I am lacking with. I can't blame to my audience at any point of time. So now the question is over here, how to stop people asking unwanted questions over there? Let's go on discuss. As long as I'm having this kind of blank cells, people will definitely ask the question. That's for sure. If I want to stop them asking this kind of question, what is the best thing we can do? Here, find and replace will not work. Don't ever try even. And even though you go for copy paste crystal value, that will work with find and replace, but pivot role will be lost. So don't ever do that even. I'll tell you a beautiful concept. Just say, keep your cursor anywhere in the pivot, go for right click upon that. From the bottom, second option deals with pivot table options. Able to see? Click on it. So when you click it, you can see a dialog box appears where you can see we have an option called over here for empty cells show. One box is there, empty cells show. And then you can keep your cursor in that box and just type anything as you want to replace with. Say I would like to go for 0 since we are dealing with numbers. So go and type just 0 over there in the box. And once you hit enter or click OK, can you see the entire pivot table wherever the blank cells were there, is it replaced with the 0 text? Right, people?
Can you
Is
please
it?
repeat once, sir?
Yeah. Right click on the pivot from the bottom second one, pivot table options. Able to see? And once you click that, there's an option called for empty cells show.
Okay.
And there you have to go and type 0 and automatically when you go and hit OK, then the blanks will be replaced with the 0 text.
Yes, yes.
All right. So now, once we have done with this over here, click OK, and you got the things ready. Now let us go and discuss something on this report. I believe all are clear up to this stage. Any questions?
No.
Great. Now let us focus on the report. Suppose my boss started working with this. Now, when he's looking at the data, the first product is of jest, then followed by hexa. Like that, when he's reaching to the last product of that particular array, this is called Tiago. And immediately he's trying to look at over here in this area, but this is not showing any kind of result. Which month that data pertaining to? Again, he has to look back in the beginning, then only he realizes that this is of January month data. So this is what my boss is not comfortable reading the data in this pattern. So he's immediately asking, Prabhas, why don't you do something with the month column? Why don't you fill the entire month column with the month name? Why you are having the blanks over here? It is not possible for me to read the data properly. So if that is the case, that is the demand, how to present it? Just say, here, if you remember, we discussed something called our data fill in our day two. With regular intervals, we have some blank cells and then we fill the same with some kind of procedure, selecting the data, control G, special blanks equal to previous cell, control enter. So a lot of lengthy procedures we have opted over there because that was the data in general worksheet. Now we are working in pivot. Jobs are very easy. You don't need to go and deal with the working sheets or that data clean two options. I'll tell you a beautiful option in pivot. What is that we have? Keep your cursor in the pivot. Uh, yes, Aditya, any questions?
No, perhaps it got wrongly raised.
Okay, okay. You can make it lower your hand, please. Yeah. So guys, anybody's mic is on. Deepika, you can keep your mic on mute. If you have any questions, you can ask me. No issues, no worries. Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir.
Yeah, yeah. Now, coming back over here, the moment we go for this, just keep your cursor in the pivot anywhere. Go to your design tab, and there, from the left, very first option is showing the subtotal, and go to the third option, report layout. We discussed 5 minutes back only the same. And here, what you can do is you can go for simply repeat all item labels. Repeat all item labels. And can you see? With immediate notice, my entire pivot table month column is filled with the respective month name, right? So this is how we have done with our pivot table number two. How to take more than one field and play around with the data. How to interchange the fields to turn up a different story. Then how to deal with our blanks and what is the role of our repeat all item labels in the design tab. We explored that too. All right, so pivot 2, whatever we did, I believe this is working for everyone. Any doubt, any queries, any challenges?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now let's do one thing. Take your cursor to pivot table number 2 sheet tab and holding the control button, drag it to the right. Okay. So one more pivot turns up, naming called pivot table number 3. So now let's go and discuss what else we can do with regard to pivot table. Now suppose say I am done with my product. Okay. What my boss is saying, try to understand. He's saying, Prabhas, this pattern is really good. What is the pattern? Like taking last 3 years data in 3 different column, taking month in another column. This pattern is good. I'm able to analyze my data, but I'm done with the product. So the pattern should remain the same, but now I'm expecting the month-wise data. Well, so if I have that, this is only the month-wise data is there. Now my boss is done with the product. He's no more looking for product. Suppose say he asked me, Prabhas, I want to see the same format of the report, but I want to do the customer-wise analysis. So what is unwanted product description that I can remove from the checkbox in the pivot table field list box? And what he's expecting? Customer. Do I have a field called customer? Yes. So take the customer field into the row area and see the beauty now. Again, pivot table structure changes and the story changes. Last 3 years revenue data with regard to the month, and then now customer wise report is ready. So kindly confirm this structure is ready.
Hi Prabhas,
Yeah,
can I share my screen?
yeah, no problem.
Like it's the initial doubt. Like like right now I was facing issue with this. Like if I wanted on the left, because I was trying to find on the top, I couldn't see anywhere. Setting option and
Settings, okay. Because Mac to Windows version, things will be a bit different. Okay, 1 minute. Mm, Oh, here, pivot table
this is
layout.
a field list.
Right. You keep your cursor on the pivot only. Keep your cursor on the pivot only. Mm, Change, field buttons, field headers, field list. Go to the design tab in the top design. We have design. Yes, there we have something now. Same features are there. Mm, Okay. Um, mm, Go to the home button. Is there something home button? Yeah. Go to home. No, in the home, one symbol is there. Yeah, home symbol.
Oh, where?
Up.
Over here.
Yeah. Right. So there you go for our open recent new one. Uh,
You
More
talking about this?
templates. No, not services. Yeah, we have got properties, import, save as, and edit format. Go to properties, please. Just go to the properties. Right. Summary. Okay, this is for the Excel file properties. Okay, cancel. No need to do anything on this. Cancel. Hmm. No, don't do anything on this. Wait over here. Here. Go to insert. Yeah. Sheet chart functions symbol shapes 3D. No. Go to format. Column, cell, styles. Okay, styles. Fine. Tools. Go to tools. No. Go to data. Hold on this. Summarize with pivot table. Table tools. Go to table tools. Down.
Table tools. Okay.
Yeah. So nothing is all grayed out.
Mm,
Hmm. We need to actually explore about that because that's again,
okay. It's fine.
I'm not comfortable with that. But right now you
I
manage
want to
with
ask
that
you one
window.
more thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
over here, when I type the formula, like for you, the entire month is coming, no? Like January,
Mm-hmm.
like this
Yeah, yeah.
It's only Jan, like shouldn't make
You have
much of a difference.
yeah, you have taken only 3 M's. You have to go for 4 M's.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay, fine.
right.
Sure.
Now order date, why it has changed to time? Control Shift 1. Order date, you should go for Control Shift
No,
3.
no, I think now I was just
No, no, go for Control Shift 3, else the other problem will also come. Control Shift 3.
it was normal date format. I don't know when it changed.
Okay. Fine then. So no problem. Rest of things are fine, I guess. Now let's go for that.
So Prabhas, when Excel is same, then why do we have different interfaces and functionalities in MacBook and Windows?
No, 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 no. There is a small correction I would like to do. Mac is operating system of OS, but that is iOS.
Yes.
And our laptops are Windows-based operating system. So the
Okay.
operating system, since it is different, for MacBook purpose, Microsoft Office version is different, and for Windows purpose, our MS Office option is or versions is different. So here, what we have 2011 in the Mac, it is over here 2010 in Windows. If something is there in 2013 in Windows, then it will be 2014. Like that, the versions always it will differ, and the features also differs, and sometimes the little bit of parameters and the formatting features, everything will be different.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So I'm taking the control back on the screen over there. Yes. Pivot table number 3. So pivot table number 3, Mamta, what we did is nothing but product description. We have deactivated the checkbox and we have brought customer to the row area. This is the one thing we did so far.
Okay.
Right. Now, once you do this, let's analyze this report. No need to do anything, just watch my screen.
Okay.
Who is our first customer? If you look at your own story also, you just check it out. Who is our first customer? Is it Al Hamid Automobiles?
Let me check.
It's for all of you.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
it our first customer, Al Hamid Automobiles?
Yes.
Right. Now let's take a
Yes.
look. Let's take a look over here. Suppose say my boss started analyzing the data and he wanted to check at least for 2019 how Al Hamid Automobiles is doing the performance. So 2019 January there is no business at all. Again, scroll down, Feb, some business is there, good sign. Then it goes down to March, no sign at all, the name of our Al Hamid Automobiles. But April, name is there, but there is no value over here. And May, the same situation. June also the same. Next goes to July, some business is there. So this is how one particular customer's data he wants to analyze for the whole year. He has to scroll down 12 times. Can you see that? Right? So this is what nobody's
Yes.
interested in reading the data in this pattern. So my boss is also not comfortable. What he's saying, Pravas, you have given the data, but it is not giving a comfort zone to deal with. Why don't you do something? Why don't you make something a report like this that whenever I open the file, it should show me the entire information. I no need to navigate a lot. I no need to scroll down a lot. So this is what something my boss is expecting from me now. Then how to deal with the thing, how to make a precise presentation. We are going to discuss about it. Let's see. The moment if I look at my row area, the very first field is there called month. Let's take that to our column area. Do it along with me. Take month from the rows to the column area. Can you see? A beautiful report turns out the entire history of all the customers in one column. But imagine how many columns we have landed up with. If you look at over here, I have selected my last row. And the moment I'm going over here, how many columns it is displaying?
Yes.
Total
41.
41 columns. Now just imagine taking 41 columns of data, how to present it. Now, suppose say my boss has never happened to see this and he asked me, Prabhas, while coming to my cabin, please get me a printout. So how will I take a printout having 41 columns? Of course, we know how to take it. We are smart enough. We know how to take a better printout. We can go to fit to page and everything comes in one page. But do you believe that the font size would be in a readable format?
No.
Not at all. So in that case, what is the point of wasting the stationery? Or can you suggest me, being a colleague of mine, can you suggest me that Prabhas, don't worry, just take a magnifying glass and go and give it and submit the report to boss and say, Sir, please help yourself. Can I say something like this? Is it possible?
No.
Not at all.
No.
So this is not the right way to express our data, people. Though we have got the data, but again, we have to work hard on this and the report is not reaching to the next level, matching the demand. So how to present it effectively? Just see. In our data, if you look at in column B, there is a 2019 one cell is there. Okay. I will keep my cursor over here and then I'll go for right click upon that. There's a beautiful option over here called expand and collapse. And in this expand and collapse, if I navigate, there's a beautiful option called collapse entire field. And when I go for clicking this collapse entire field, now see the beauty. The entire report of last 3 years, it has been clinched just to 3 columns and creating one plus symbol in each and every column headers. And this is called our radio button. So any point of time, suppose my boss asked me, Prabhas, show me only 2021 data. I can simply click on the plus symbol, only 2021 alone will be expanded. Unwanted data I am not displaying in the screen. Unwanted questions are not going to be invited. Once my presentation is over, again I click my 2021 plus symbol and my data will be restored. So now see how beautifully precisely we are able to successfully present our data of large volume or number of columns. So this is called our expand and collapse button. How to operate with the same, we got the understanding. So give it a try and check everything is working fine.
Yes.
Anybody is facing any trouble?
Yes.
Need my support? All right. So I consider everyone is clear with our pivot table number 3 over here. Now, just focus on my screen. Whatever we did, do you think that is it a rocket science or anybody else cannot do just like this?
No.
Anybody can do that. In a simple right click, things are available. So anybody can do that. Now, when anybody can do the same, and if you are also doing the presentation in that fashion, do you think that you are going to create an impact in the audience mind? Never. So as I have been telling you since day one, always try to make something different so that people would be happy watching the uniqueness in your presentation and you can take your presentations to the next level. So in this data set, whatever we prepared in pivot table number 3, what else we can do to make it more informative? Give your best opinion on this. I'm not asking something new. What you have learned in day 1, day 2, if you recall, you got the answer. Think about it and give me your opinion. I'm holding it for 1 minute max.
Number should be in comma, means separators should be there in number.
Okay,
And
you did
uh,
it.
l- like table format means the one in blue, another one in light blue, that
This
designed.
is this is already there in table format. Pivot table itself is a table format.
Yes, but the Like how when we put control T, we get that.
Yeah, the same thing. This is control
Yeah.
T is nothing but the pivot table itself is already having the table format, light, medium, dark. Same thing we get it from the home tab format test
Okay.
table. Same thing we have got already in pivot itself.
Header
Which header you would like to go for?
means what is the means what we are presenting
Hmm.
actually.
Okay, so the report header status you want to
Yeah.
keep it
Yeah.
something over here. Okay,
Yes.
fine, we can do that.
So including charts we have seen last time.
Have we ever discussed about the charts? So
Not
far,
like that. The
Not
data
chart.
itself we
This is,
have added some
we have
chart.
visualized the data. We have visualized
Yeah,
the data. Like
yeah.
what are the day two last topic we discussed something about the data visualization. So what are
Yes.
the visualization techniques we have discussed? If you recall, one is called our data bars. Second one
yes.
is called our spark lines. Third is our icon set. All these things we discussed. So don't
Yes,
you
sir.
think that we can add all those things and then it will be making a value additions to my presentation? Obviously. So let's see
Yes.
now how to do that. Just go for it, do it along with me. Keep your cursor next to grand total and type over here, naming called visual. And then just to give this visual column is the property of pivot table. Select your grand total cell of your pivot table. Go to home tab and we have a format painter option is there, right?
Yes.
Go for it and then go back to the visual cell and click the same. So same formatting will be applied to the visual column as well. Right? Now, as I told you earlier, that always try to present your data in a storytelling format. Like if you go to our grand total, keeping your cursor in any cell, right click upon that, we can go for sort and largest to smallest. Just 10 minutes back only we discussed all these things. And in day two also we discussed all these things. So when you go for largest to smallest, we can make out that from Globus Tata, we got the maximum revenue. From Concord Motors, we got the least revenue. Don't you think that it's a value addition?
Yes.
Nothing new. What we have discussed already, the same thing only we are again repeating. So this is what you have to practice well and you have to give a better feel of your data. Now, coming back to the data, who is our first customer? Say Globus Tata. Okay. Now select Globus Tata 3 years results, not the grand total, only the 3 years data. And go to our insert. In insert menu, do you see the option called sparklines? The other day we discussed three different types of sparklines. It will be displayed line, column, win or loss. The other day, that is day two, we discussed something about column sparklines. Able to recall, right? So now we are going to discuss about line sparkline. So let's go and explore about the line part. So now when I go and select my line spark line, this will demand me, where is the data? Data is already selected. Where is the location? Keep your cursor in the location box and go to the visual column first cell. So first cell that is nothing but the same parallel row item of our Globus Tata. And the moment you select it and click OK, can you see more or less a beautiful line graph kind of options will be turning up?
Yes.
Now, along with that, if you look at on your screen, there will be a tab called Sparkline also turns up in the extreme right of your ribbon menu. Sparkline, design, tools, options, depending upon the version of Microsoft Excel, name would be something different, but you have a tab, correct? And within that, do you see an option called markers? Just see on my screen. In the same Sparkline tab, do you see an option called markers, which is not activated? The checkbox is not on. You can just activate that checkbox and see a beautiful pointers will be added in that line graph. So this is happening only with one customer. Now the same I need to apply for others. We know how to apply, simple drag it down and see the beauty, a report. So when you are going to present the same to the audience, people are more focusing on these two columns because they don't have time to go through your billions, millions, lakhs and crores and remember the same and present the story or understand the story. So here, what is the story we are conveying to our people? We can simply making the story that from global startup, if you look at our volume of business is going down compared to last year to this year, and which is a serious issue. We need to check it out. But if you look at the Arya Motors, what is happening? It is showing the consistent growth of my business. That's a good sign. But again, Power Auto World, same status going down. We need to check it out. Tuli Motors, it is drastically going down and it's a serious affair again. We need to check it out with Tuli Motors. But if you look at our other two cases, like over here, like National Auto Wheels compared to last year to this year, and Gurudev Motors again compared to last year to this year, and Kunoj Motors, they are performing very well. And this is what we need to also learn from them, how they are making good business instantly, immediately, they are reaching to the top. So this is how people, the moment you're presenting to the audience, they will be happy watching the information, and it is taking our presentations to the next level. And if it is needed also, the same I can present it in my PowerPoint in a beautiful fashion. So that's how people, what we have learned, the same thing we have implemented, nothing new. But yes, our presentation technique makes ourselves different. Kindly confirm all of you are able to getting this feel.
So
Prabhash,
without
Yeah,
sorry.
no problem. Yes, who is having the question?
Prabhash, I am having the question.
Mhm.
Actually, my data is not similar to your data. So sharing my screen.
Yep,
Here
yep.
it is coming like indica, like means only this is collapsed, but this one is not.
No, no, you remove first the product description. Hmm. Just remove that checkbox. Ah. Now
Okay.
just visual column, cut it and paste it in column towards your left. Yes. And then go to your Global Starter 3 years data. First you select, then go to insert. Yeah. Go to line, then select the visual column first cell in the location box. Yeah, visual column first cell. Right, click OK. Now slice sparkline tab will be coming up. Markers is there towards the left. Yes.
Okay.
And then drag it down for others. Right. Perfect. Yes. Somebody
Thank you
else
so
was having
much.
some question. Yeah, welcome. No problem.
Yeah, Prabhas, I was having
Mm.
question. Without
Yes.
this visual option, it will not work. This spark line will not work. You have extended, formatted, used format painter for this visual option.
No,
So
no,
if
no,
I
no. See, the visual purpose reason has been different. That is nothing to do with our spark line. See, this tab colors, I'm just opting from the previous column. Like my pivot table is having the blue color. So visual
yes,
column also to give a feel that it should have the blue color. You can do it manually, but same kind of graphics colors combinations, you may not get it. That is the reason why I asked you, take this as a source and go to your format painter and then opt that format and then go and apply over here.
okay,
That is nothing to do with our sparkline. So these are two
okay,
different things.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. All right, so I believe now we all are in the equal page and everyone is clear with our pivot table number 3, how to make a value additions to our data. Fine. Now let's do
Yes.
one thing. Let's do one thing. Select your pivot 3 sheet tab and holding the control button, drag it to the right. You'll be getting one more pivot naming called pivot table number 4. And once you have pivot table number 4, this visual column is no more required. You can select the whole column and go for control minus to delete the whole column. Don't delete, just try to delete. Just go for right click, delete column or control minus. And once you have done with the same, let's see what else we can do with regard to the pivot table. So first of all, our customer work is over. You can deactivate. Month work is over. You can deactivate and bring product description to the row area. So whatever the first pivot table we had, same thing, we got it over here right now, nothing new. And you all must be having the total of 3199253, no changes.
Yes.
Right. Now, once we have done up to this level, let's focus what else we can do with regard to pivot table. Now, suppose say this is what I have presented to my boss. My boss is quite happy. And he's telling me he's appreciating my work, saying that Prabhas, this report is really good. Taking last 3 years data in 3 different columns and taking all the products in the rows, perfectly matching. But you have given me only the revenue data. What I want is to generate this much of revenue, how much incentives we have given it. I want to know that. So my boss wants to just check in two adjacent column, revenue versus incentive. So if that is the case, then how to present it? So first thing first, check. Do we have any field called incentive? In our source data sheet, do you
No.
have any field called incentive? So here we have maximum 10 items. You can go and manually check. Suppose you have got 100 items. The best option, go and search. There is a search box over here above to that field list box. There you can go and search also. Anything is there? No. So our problem starts. We do not have incentive data. Technically, in the corporates, while we are working with whom we pay the incentives, is it to the salesman, sales agents, salespeople? Yes, of course. Now, whom we have given, my boss is not interested in knowing that. How much we have given, that is what he wants to know. So in this case, let's take a call that let's assume that in our organization, we have a uniform policy, a global policy stating that whatever the revenue we generate out of that 2%, we always declare as incentive. It's a global policy. Though the salesman is working in the north or south or east or western zone or central zone, wherever, whatever the billing he's or she is making, they'll be entitled for 2% incentive. Now, having said this, if I want to have a incentive column in pivot table, how to create it? We do not have the data, but we know how to compute it. Then, when we do not have the data, we do have an option. We can go back to the source data sheet. We can create a column also, isn't it? So let's go and do
Yes.
that. Go to summary table data sheet and check what is the last column we have.
Channel partners.
Keep the cursor next to channel partners and type what should be the name.
Incentives.
Just type it. Now, once you type incentive field over here and hit enter, what is happening? Can you see the same formatting is being carried forward to the next column?
Yes.
And how is it happening? Because we have converted our data into table. So now you got the reason why I asked you or recommended to convert your data into table. Now, coming back to the calculation part, keep your cursor in the incentive column, type equal to, and select your sales USD column. It will take its own formatting like at the rate symbol, square brackets, and all this is what we have already witnessed in our day one itself, nothing new. Now just go for multiply. What is the percentage as we discussed? 2%. And once you go and hit enter, see the beauty. What is happening? It is applying for the whole column. How? Because we converted our data into table. So this is how we have got our data ready in our summary table data sheet. That is the source data records. We got the new column incentive. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Now come back to the pivot table. And here, keeping your cursor on the pivot, you don't have the incentive field. Not to be panicked, just keep your cursor in the pivot and do right click. Do you see an option called refresh? And once you click this refresh button, do you see the incentive field is being populated in the field list box below to channel partners? And
Yes.
if it is being populated, what kind of data it is holding in incentive column? Is it numbers? Yes. Now, if numbers, then what is the right field area to place it as we discussed? Should be in the value field area. So let's take incentive and put it across in the value field area and see the beauty. You will be getting a new column naming called total incentive. Along with that, you will be also finding a respective year-wise column also getting ready to analyze your data. So this is how people, when we do not have the data, we do always have a choice. We can create our data in the source data sheet. We can bring the same to pivot with a simple right click refresh and populate it. And this option is working fine because we have converted data into table. Suppose you have forgotten to convert your data into table, you have to struggle. How? You can do the same, but you need to go to analyze or pivot table, analyze, change data source, and you have to again change your new data range. So this is what we used to do when we do not have the options of table format. That is from 2007 and earlier versions, we were struggling. But 2007 and above, we have got the format as table option. So you can keep using the same. You can save your time.
But
All right.
Prabhas, suppose I
Yeah.
am using this pivot template for month on month and new data is getting added. So
Right.
can I use this change source data or I have to use the refresh data only?
Only
Because every
refresh.
month,
Only refresh because we have converted our data into table. So you don't
okay,
need to worry about. Only thing is you have to keep just appending the data below to the existing one. So month and month, you have to keep adding the records below one by other or one to the
suppose
other.
there is one scenario where I am downloading data from SAP or Oracle every month,
Right,
and my pivot table format is same.
right,
So can I use this pivot table format in newly downloaded data?
right. Once you download your data over here, what you can do is you can simply go for the data and start pasting from here. Leaving the header, you should paste from this point.
Okay.
And the same pivot, because see, the data column format will never get changed. The column headers will never get changed. It will remain
Yes.
the same. So only
Yes.
thing is the data will keep changing. So you just keep changing the data. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Header should be the same.
Yes, yes. Header has to be the same. Yeah. So yes, Amit, you can share your screen. No problem.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sharing.
Yeah, no problem.
Is it visible?
Yeah, I can see that. Go for the formula.
Okay. Is equal to
Sales USD.
then sales USD into
No, 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 no. Not the header. Not the header.
oh,
You
oh,
should
oh,
go to the first value.
first value
Yeah. Multiply 2%.
2%. Okay. Then enter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So this will be applicable for all. And now go to the pivot table and
Pivot
just do
4.
the right click on the pivot, right click on the pivot, on the
Okay.
pivot, on the pivot
Ah,
table
ah,
and refresh.
refresh.
Yeah. No, 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 no. In the pivot table exactly, right click and
Refresh.
refresh. Now you get incentive populated in the field list box in the bottom that you bring it to the value field area. You bring it to the value field area and it will be ready.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Welcome. All right, so I believe everyone is clear so far, whatever we discussed about the pivot table. So even if you do not have the data, no need to be worried about. We do have always a choice. We can bring our data in the source data sheet. We can populate the same in pivot table. And that's the story of our pivot table number 4. Right. Now, let's do one thing. Select your pivot 4 sheet tab and holding the control button, drag it to the right. You got another pivot ready, naming called pivot table number 5. Okay, so here, let's go and discuss what else we can do with regard to the pivot table. Say our incentive work is over. You can deactivate that field. So don't worry, that field will be there all the time as a property of your pivot table. So again, if you want to bring it back, you can. So this is just for the timing we have deactivated since the work is over. So I believe the data structure is ready.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine then. Now, please stay focused. What I'm saying, what is the ask from the other end? Suppose say I have presented this incentive data. My boss is quite happy and he is appreciating my work, obviously. Now, when boss is happy, we know one thing already we have discussed also. What happens next? Expectation level goes high, workload increases, isn't it? The same thing happened also with me. Now, what my boss is expecting from me, try to understand. He's telling me, Prabhas, you have given me incentive. Thank you so much. I'm done with that. Now, what I want to know is, while making this much of billing in these 3 years, how much discounts we have given to our customers? I want to know that. I repeat, while generating all these invoices, how much discounts we have given our invoices to the customers? My boss wants to analyze. So billing amount versus the discount amount. He wants to have the adjacent columns. So first thing first, as we discussed, first we need to check, do we have a field called discount? Check it out, please. We do not have, right? So we do not have discount. So again, our problem starts. Keep that things in hold. Say, for example, like incentive, we do have a global policy in our industry for our discount as well. Say, management has decided that whatever the billing we make, whoever our customer, they give a bulk order or small quantity order, whatever it is, irrespective of the order quantity, everyone is entitled for 5% discount, suppose. So having said this, now if I need a discount column to be populated in pivot table, what is the choice we have? How will I do that? Yes,
We have to insert in summary table.
right. So the way we did for incentive, right? The same thing you're expecting. So we'll go
Yes.
to summary table. We'll go, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just watch my screen. We are discussing. So we need to go to our source data sheet. We'll create one more column. We'll be applying the formula for the entire column. We'll be bringing the same to pivot by right click refresh. And once it is ready, we have to bring it to the value field area. This is what, again, we have to repeat the steps. So total, how much time we have spent? Roughly 2 to 5 minutes. So one end, our 2 to 5 minutes of quality time is a waste of time. Yes, it's a waste of time. Besides that, when you go back to your source data, create a new column, apply the formula for 1 lakh times, our file size is also getting heavy. Do you mind that? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes,
So
sir.
having said this, what we did, though our expert, they do suggest us to do the job like this, but Microsoft Excel never recommends for that. So now the question is, without creating the source data over there as discount, how to create a discount column in the pivot table by applying our own formula. So what you can do for that, a beautiful concept again, keep your cursor anywhere in the pivot table and go to your analyze or pivot table analyze in the ribbon menu. A tab is there. And in this, go for an option called our fields, items, and sets. It will be there in the calculations group. It will be there in the calculations group name called fields, items, and sets. Able to navigate, everybody? Then within that, do you see an option called calculated field? Click on that. Once you just click on this calculate field, it will take you to a dialog box, something like this. And here you got to go the name the field as whatever it is written in the name box, delete and name the new field. What should be the name? Discount?
Discount.
Right, give it. Name the field as discount. Next, formula box. Whatever the formula is there, please delete that because we are going to customize our own formula. So please delete that. And there, discount purpose, what should be the calculation? Should be the 5% on the billing column. Billing column in the sense sales USD. Can you see in the field list, we have a option called sales USD? Yes, double click on that. Once you go for double click, that will be automatically embedded in the formula box. Don't do any kind of changes. Don't try to type it. Don't do any kind of alterations also in the formula. Just double click on sales USD. Multiply. How many percentage? As we discussed, 5%. That's it. Now, the moment you go and click OK, just see the beauty. Your pivot will be carrying one more column naming called total discount. Along with that, year-wise, how much discounts we have given, that also precisely coming out. So we got one more field called discount, and this is called your virtual field, calculated field, and you can create n number of fields like this, and that's going to be the property of pivot table. Don't be worried. And the beauty is, if you look back your source data, there is no such kind of column called discount, and it is not making your file size heavy. So that's the beauty of calculated field. Check it out. Is it happening?
Prabhas, in pivot table, can you please show it once again? Means where we have to go. Pivot calculation.
Pivot table analyze fields, items, and sets. Calculated field.
No, I'm not getting that one. Shall I share my
Yeah,
screen?
yeah, yeah. Please, no problem.
Pivot table design.
No, no, not design. Pivot table, analyze. Yeah, you
Analyze.
have,
Yes.
yeah, in the right side, immediate, you have got fields, items, and sets. Right side, right side. You are going left on your
Sorry,
right.
sorry.
Just left, little bit left. There you the option. Fields, items, and sets. Calculated field.
Okay.
There you name the field called discount first.
And this we have to
Yeah,
delete
sales
sales
USD,
price.
double click.
And okay, double click.
No, you got to go for double
And
click on that. Yes, now multiply by 5%.
okay, this. Okay. Okay, got it. Means
Right.
pivot table analyze and then this one, right?
Yes.
Okay, I was
Yes.
searching for your big box like where you were able to see.
So that's
Yeah,
what I
got
told you.
it.
It's in the fields, items, and sets in the calculations
Yeah.
group. So in the fields, items, and sets below to that, just see. Don't click that. Don't click that. What is the meaning by group is go for escape. Go for
Yes.
escape once. In the same line, go down. Just go down. Can you see small letters? It's written in calculations.
Yeah.
That is called group. So this
Yeah.
entire things like pivot table, fields, items, and sets, OLAP tools, relationship. It is the feature of calculation group.
Okay. Okay.
This is how you have to read your data. All right.
Oh, got it. Thank you.
No problem. Welcome. All right. So I believe now people, everyone is clear with our concept. So what is that you learned now that the same fashion we could have created our incentive calculations also. Do you all agree?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes.
So any point of time, if you need that, no need to go for creating your source data. You can always take your help of your formula and this fields, items, and sets calculate field. Now, let's do one thing. Select our pivot 5 sheet tab and holding the control button, drag it to the right. You'll be getting another pivot table naming called pivot table number 6. So let's go and check it out. What else we can do with regard to pivot table? Our discount work is over. You can deactivate this discount. And you'll be bringing our pivot table to the very first pivot table, whatever we had designed.
Yes.
Right. Now, once we have done with this over here, if you have any questions, you can ask me before proceeding further. All clear? Okay. Since you did not ask me, let me ask you something. There must be a question you should have asked me. See, what's the question? Like, suppose, say, take an example. I have defined 5% discount to everyone. Okay. Now, suppose, say, my management later decided we are selling the premium products. Why you need to give a discount to this much to the customers? Just bring down the discount. Instead of 5%, give it only 1% to the people. So if that is the case, my solution has to be changed, my calculations has to be changed. Now, in this case, if I need to update my discount column, how will I update it? So two options, either I can recreate the entire thing or I can go for edit the existing discount column. So which one you prefer to go for, or which one ideally we should go for?
Edit.
Definitely. So if at all any point of time anything goes wrong or I need to update our calculate field or I need to change the formula in the calculate field, how to do that? So keeping the cursor in the pivot, go to same option, pivot table analyze. Then in the calculations group, fields, items and sets, calculated field, same option. And here you can see in the name column, there is a drop down. And in this drop down, is it showing the field what you have created? Discount.
Yes.
And then you can go and change the percentage from 5 to 1%. And here, remember one thing, whenever you are updating your records or formula or calculations, do not forget to click the modify button. Don't directly go for clicking the OK button, go for modify. If you go for OK button, again, one more field will generate, so which we do not want. So we want to update the existing field, so go for modify record. And if you believe discount work is over, I don't want that field, you can go for delete button. So it is again need based. So right now we need that field, but to update that. So go for modify and then click OK. With immediate effect, it will be showing only 1% discount of each and every invoice amount. So this is how people we come to know now how to insert a calculate field, how to update a calculate field if there is a need. Any doubt, any queries? Fine. Let's go to our pivot
This
table.
option is not appearing, Prabhas. Can I share my screen?
Yeah. Please, please.
So I am going to this calculation column,
Mm-hmm.
calculated field.
Mm-hmm.
So this drop.
There is a drop down next to the name column. Next to the name column, drop down. Yes.
Okay.
Then discount, and then change the percentage and go
Okay.
for modify, and click OK.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. All right, so I believe everyone is clear. Now let me take the control back on the screen and over here. All right, so let's go and discuss in pivot table number 6 what else we can do over here. Suppose, say, take an example, my boss happened to see the data. He's quite happy the way I have presented my data over here. Now, immediately he started expecting something from me. What is that he's saying? Try to understand over here. He's saying, Prabhas, the pattern is really good. The table, whatever you have given, the pattern is really good. Last 3 years data in 3 columns and all the products in the rows. I like this. But you have given me only one pivot table. Well, what I want is similar fashion pivot table should be there, but I want those tables should be based on the salesman. So salesman wise, multiple pivot table my boss is expecting, but pivot pattern should remain the same. So if this is the case, then how to deal with? Now suppose say for layman language, if I talk about, if I have got 200 salesmen, my boss is expecting 200 pivot tables with the similar fashion. Okay. So how to deal with the same? So first thing first, as we discussed, do you have a field called salesman or salesperson or sales agent something?
Yes, salesperson is there.
Right. So our problem is solved. We have the data. Now, no need to do anything. Just watch my screen. I am doing on behalf of all. Okay. Now I took salesperson to the row area. Report structure changes. My boss is not happy. I took it to the column area. Report structure is there as it is. Salesperson details field is there, but details are missing. There is no point of presenting the data like this. Finally, I took it to the filter area. Now what? I am somewhat safe. Report patterns remain the same, whatever my boss is expecting. And along with that, I am getting the pivot table purpose salesperson also above to the pivot table area. Now, what I did out of the curiosity, I just went to my boss and I asked him, Sir, you need multiple pivot tables, right? Based on the salesman. What you need to do exactly is you need to go to the salesperson filter. You need to select SM1, click OK. Now this entire data will be turning up only for salesman 1. Only thing is you need to insert a new Excel sheet. You need to copy this pivot table data and you have to paste it. And this is what the action you have to repeat for 200 times. This is what I explained to my boss. How will be the reaction? Is he going to be happy?
No.
No.
So what would be the reaction then? Okay, I will tell you. I will take 1 minute of your time. Suppose say this is what I did. I explained everything. My boss was quite patiently listened to me. And finally, when I done with that story, he just worked my data and he looked at me and he gave a plastic smile. You know, bosses are good at smiling. You would have seen the plastic smile quite, I mean, the smile which is not natural quite often in the corporate world. And what he's saying now, he's telling me, Pravas, I'm really impressed with your smartness. The way you have diverted the entire responsibility towards me, I like that. Now, if I am going to do your job, let's do one thing. While you come to office tomorrow morning, please bring your resignation letter with you. I would be happy to sign on that. So this is the kind of reaction my boss given. Anybody will give, quite natural. So what you have understood from the entire story, that at any point of time, we cannot divert our responsibilities towards our seniors. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Definitely. So in this case, how to deal with this particular stuff? What he's expecting from me? First, try to understand the objective. See the pain of the work. Now, suppose say take an example. I am working with a global report and I have got 200 salesmen. So what my boss is expecting from me, try to understand. Job number one, he's expecting that I should go first and insert worksheets for how many people? 200, right? So 200 worksheets. Then I should go and copy this pivot table and I should paste it. For how many times? 200 times, total 400. Task. Then he's expecting I should go for selecting the filter with the salesman name for each and every pivot table for 200 times, total 600. That's also not enough for him. Finally, he's expecting that I should rename the worksheets with the salesman name and that to 200 times. So if I look at how much task I have now, I need to do total 800 task. Now think about it. If you are in my place, how long it will be taking for you? How much time you will be asking your boss to execute all these things? Yes, Aditya, what's your opinion?
This is not actually practical. We have to find some other way out.
Definitely. But if you do not have any solutions and boss is badly in need of such kind of report, then what is the other choice we have? Nothing. So why my boss is asking such kind of tedious job to be delivered? Because see, it's not like something my boss is asking and I have to blindly keep spending time. So when I understand the impact or role of the report, then only I can think about more value additions to the work, right? So this is the reason why we need to know what kind of role this report is going to play, why my boss is asking all these things to me. Simple. Whatever the targets we have given to all the salesmen and how much they have achieved, whether it is overachieved or underachieved. Overachieved never happens, but underachieved. But why? What is the reason behind it? He wants to collect the feedback from each and every salesperson. That's why he's expecting the individual reports so that he can send it across to the individual persons. Okay, we got to know now. Well, so now the question is how long it will be taking for us. Of course, the volume of work is very high, minimum 1 day to be in safer side. But do you think that my boss will be having the patience to wait for 1 day for this report?
No.
Not at all. So seeing that things, what is saying, Prabhas, what is there you are going to take 1 day? Do it in just 1 hour. So 1 day task, is it possible? Unless and until you have something called chat GPT or something automations or AI tool, you can't even dream of that, isn't it? Now, though my boss is not happy the way I'm doing the job, but he has no other options because his best teammate is asking for 1 day. And that leads to a negative impressions in the KRA report. And when KRA report is negative, that impacts my appraisal system also. So quite natural. Now think about it. Now the entire task, whatever of 1 day task, if I able to make it for you just in 10 seconds on a click of button, how much of quality time we can save? A lot. So this is what something we are going to do now. So the objective is any point of time, if you have to export your pivot table data into multiple reports on a click of button, how to do that? First thing first, go to our pivot table and boss is expecting salesman wise data. So bring salesman to the filter area. Go for it first. Bring salespersons to the filter area. And now you will be having a filter button over there above the pivot table. Now do not click that filter button, just select that cell. Do not click the filter button, just select the cell. And then go to your pivot table analyze in the ribbon tab. The very first option you can see it is dealing with pivot table. If you navigate below to that, you have the option called pivot table name. And within pivot table name, if you see there's an option called options. Don't click the options also. Next to options, there is a small navigation tab is there. You can click on the navigation button. It opens up with three different tabs, naming options, show report filter pages, generate get pivot data. So go for the second one, show report filter pages. And then when you go to a dialog box, it appears with salesperson name. And my boss is also expecting salesperson wise data. Perfect. Now click OK and see the beauty. On your blink of your eyes, your pivot table will start exporting the data into multiple reports, having the pivot report patterns the same and having the salesman filter on and report tabs also. If you look at the sheet tabs also renamed with the salesman name. Think about it. Just the entire 1 day job in 10 seconds. So that's why we call it as life savior option of our pivot table people. Trust me, I have seen little people sitting and doing the copy paste work at the year end. So if you know the tool better, you can save a lot of time. Anytime, product wise report, customer wise report, cost center wise report, or date wise, anything you want, you can export the data into multiple reports. All right. Hope this is working and you find helpful.
This is basically to understand how the salesperson has performed, right, year on year.
Yeah, yeah. You can say anything. You want to have month on month also, you can create the first pivot table having month, 1 year data only. So month wise, how much it's the analysis also you could do. So any report, pivot table report, if you written something in the filter option, so this is what the discussion we had. What is the role of our filter option? So how to navigate? This will be working like a primary key. All right. All of you are clear? Getting that?
Yes, sir.
Right. So taking the live data, keep practicing about all these techniques, people. Definitely you can save a lot of time and don't confine this just knowledge with you. Keep sharing with your teammates so that that will be very helpful for you as well to register the things easily. Now, we have done with our pivot table number 6. So let's go for our pivot 6 sheet tab and then holding the control button, drag it to the right. So you got another pivot ready, naming called pivot table number 7. And salesperson work is over. You can deactivate salesperson also. So do let me know once your data structure is ready.
Prabhas, if I have to undo whatever I have done SM1, SM2, then I have to control Z or
No, no, no. There's no control jet for this. Only thing is you do not no need to save the file. Or if you want, then you have to delete the sheets, whatever you have generated.
okay.
Right. Fine then. So we have done with our pivot table number 6. So coming to pivot table 7, we have deactivated our salesperson filter. Now let's see what else we can do with regard to pivot table. Sometimes what happens, friends, over here, while working on pivot table, we need to deal with the date related fields like invoice date, purchase order date, work order date, date of joining of the employee, whatever it is, the date related fields, if you have, how to present our date related records in pivot table precisely, we are going to discuss. So first thing first, remove the unwanted fields like product description, you can deactivate. You can deactivate your year field also. Just retain only sales USD. Just exactly above to the sales USD, you will be finding one order date field is there, right? So take that order date field into the row area and you will be finding a pivot table structure, something automatically taking like this. Kindly confirm all of you got the similar structure by taking order date to the row area. Now, once we have done with this over here, one thing you can notice, this kind of ready-made structure of our pivot is not going to make any sense. People can't make out the results over here, and this is of no use. Then how to present it? Just see. If you go back to that field of year, if you see, keep your cursor in one of the year and go for right click upon the same. Then you have an option called ungroup. Just do that. And immediately now the entire report structure is going to be neutralized and it will be generating the report something like this. Every date wise, whatever the invoice, the value, it will be turning up. All of you are getting the same now. So this kind of report output we used to get in 2013 and earlier versions of Microsoft Excel. So the report structure, what automatically it was taking, this has come into force only in 2016 and above. So this is the reason why I asked you to first remove everything, neutralize everything, and turn into a generic statement. So can I take that? Everyone has got the similar structure, what I'm showing on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, once you have this, keep your cursor in one of the date, right click on that. You have an option called group. So when you click this group button, it will take you to a dialog box where you could see the first invoice date and the last invoice date is visible. Yes. Below to that, in the categories by, you can see month alone is in selection. So along with that, select your years also and click OK. So you'll be seeing a beautiful hierarchy of report like year-wise, month-wise presentations will be populating. But having said this, when I'm presenting this over there to my boss, he's not quite happy. And he is asking me, Pravas, why don't you go for one more hierarchy of report along with the years, months? I want to have the date-wise records also. So suppose say in January month, I have got 10 invoices. I need those 10 dates-wise invoices over there. How to get that? So best part, what you can do is keep your cursor anywhere in this year field, right click on that and go for group. So when you go for group, same dialog box appears. And here you can notice we have an option called days, which is not selected. So you can select your days box also. And once you select your days and click OK, can you see now a beautiful hierarchy of report? So year-wise, month-wise, date-wise records. So this is how, whenever there is a need, how to present your date-related records in a beautiful fashion, you got the basic understanding. So kindly confirm you all are getting the similar setup. Fine, everybody's getting the feel of that. Date-wise records of pivot table number 7. Any questions from anybody? All right. So here, though the report is so meaningful and in the beautiful pattern it has come up, but one thing you have to always notice that it always generates two other fields for you, naming called months and years. So you just watch your screen, you might be having this kind of two fields generated on the screen. So these are your virtual fields, or these are your calculated fields, or not the real fields you can treat. So what is the point? Why I need to know all these things? The reason is any point of time, if you want to analyze your data based on the years or month-wise analysis you want to do, you should take these fields. These are our real fields. I'm going to take you through. Just see. So these are our real fields. Okay. Never ever take these fields. If you take that, the report meaning or structure may be different. So you might be struggling about that, and you have no idea that why there is a difference of the values because you have not taken the real fields. These are the virtual fields. So this is the only thing you have to keep in your mind. All right. So pivot table number 7. We are clear. Can I take that?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now keep your cursor in pivot 7 sheet tab and just holding the control button, bring it to the right or drag it to the right. You got another pivot ready called pivot table number 8. Now all this date related work is over. You can remove all these fields from the pivot table field list box, the day related fields. Okay. And bring product description to the rows and take year, not years, take year to the columns. So whatever the first pivot table we had designed, we got the exact structure and feel of the pivot table in the same pattern. Kindly confirm.
Yes, sir.
Right. So over here, now please stay focused, whatever we have got it. This pivot table, whatever I am preparing or whatever I have showed or presented or prepared, maybe my immediate boss would be happy watching the same, no doubt about it, because he needs the numbers the most and his purpose, the numbers only is the only way to present the data. But the same thing, when I'm going to present it to my management, do you think that they can easily interpret the data? Like for Indica 2019, is it of 6 lakhs 18 or 6 crore 18 lakhs? Can I make out easily? No. I have to be very particular. I have to give extra efforts to read my data properly. Do you agree? Yes or no? So when you have lengthy numbers, when you have the number of characters more in the cell, can you immediately interpret this is of lakhs or crores or billions or millions? Do you think that it is easily interpret? I mean, we can interpret?
No.
Not at all. So management, they don't have the time also, those people, and they are not interested to see this kind of data. That's for clear. So how to present it effectively? So if you remember in day 1, we discussed something about data presentation. Did you remember? We presented the revenue data in terms of percentage, growth percentage, YTD percentage, all these things we calculated the other day. Able to recall? I'm just reminding you. See, the moment we go for our data presentation over here, okay, what we did, we had only 2 columns of data. We created revenue percentage, growth percentage, YTD percent, all these things we did. Right. So this is what we did in the normal Excel data sheet. But right now we are working with pivot table. So how to present this year-wise data in terms of percentage? So what we can do in that case, ideally people prefer to go for some manual columns over there. Okay. So never ever create the manual columns over here because that is never going to be the property of pivot table. We know. So what we can do first is the interface arrangements, how to do. Take a look. There are 2 types of grand totals in pivot table you notice. One is called your row-wise grand total because this is showing the row-wise total value. One is called your column-wise grand total because this is showing the column-wise values total. So basically this row-wise grand total we need to remove, but I can't remove a particular field from pivot because all the fields are integrated. So what we can do? Can we hide? Yes, you can hide, but that will be visible to the people. That's not the right way also. I'll tell you a beautiful concept. Just say, keep your cursor anywhere in pivot table. Go to design tab. Do you see the very first option is called subtotal? And exactly next to that, do you see an option called grand total? In that grand total field tab, you can see we have an option called on for columns only, on for columns only. And when I go for this, with immediate effect, can you see that row wise grand total disappeared? It's not hidden. It's not hidden. It's not deleted. It's just we have made it switch off. All right. I believe so far is clear, whatever we did.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, the next step, what you need to do, people, watch my screen. In our value field area, you could see there's an option called sales USD already there, correct? Now I will take one more time this sales USD. And this will create another field over here, naming called sum of sales USD2. I will keep my cursor in that column header. I'll go for right click upon that. There is a beautiful option called show values as. And in this, we have an option called percentage of column total. I repeat, percentage of column total. And once I select this with immediate effect, can you see the data has been converted into percentage? So each and every year-wise data, if you look at, it is showing 100%. So how to read this data? Like if I go for Indica in 2019, it is contributing 5.95% to my entire revenue. So like that, if I want to know which is contributing more, I can look at and it is showing Sumo Gold is contributing more to my revenue. This is how an entire thing. If you look at my total revenue for 2019, is it of 100%? Yes. So this is how we got one more field in the pivot itself, and we can rename them finally, naming called revenue percentage. And that's how within the pivot table itself, how to create a new column, we got the understanding. So go for it, please. First, take sales USD to the value field area. Then take that field header and right click upon that. Go for show values as and take the option percentage of column total. And finally, rename the field revenue percentage.
How did you rename it? Like,
Just manually type it, manually type it.
okay, okay. So this revenue percentage will auto populate in other columns also.
Yes, yes. You can check it out also even. So 2019, 2020, 2021, everything, it comes up. So this is how, without creating the manual columns or without taking the helper columns in pivot table itself, we can generate all these fields. Right? I believe it's clear, working for everyone.
What is percentage of grand total?
Percentage of grand total. No, you want to know what is the meaning of that?
Uh, yes,
Right.
yes. What it
Right.
is exactly. Like.
See, when you go for 2019, 2020, and 2021, consider these are my three different products or three different unit. Just take a look. Don't consider this year. It's of three different unit. One is of my Mumbai data, one is of my Chennai data, and one is of my New Delhi data. But all these three units are of the same concern. Okay. Now, when I go for my entire revenue, what I'll do, I will club all these three units report. Correct. Now,
Okay, so
if I want to know what is my total revenue when I club, that is your grand total. That is your grand total. Now, if I want to know in Mumbai how much it is contributing to my revenue, that is called percentage of grand total.
Okay, so it'll be Mumbai, the value with the total 3 years.
Right.
Okay.
So what is your Mumbai value out of 3 years total? That is called percentage of grand total. Why we have gone for percentage of column total? The reason is we are dealing with only this column. We are not going to deal with any other two columns when I'm talking about this of 2019. So in this year, whatever the total is there, that is your column total. And out of this column total, how much it is contributing in Indica, that is nothing but your 6% almost.
Yeah, okay. Okay,
Right.
fine.
So this is how people we have understood how to create this revenue percentage. Now, suppose say, take an example. My boss asked me that Prabhas, this Indica, whatever it is showing of 6,18,372 US dollar, what's your perception in 2019? Is it of one invoice value or it is of multiple invoice? What's your belief system says? Is it of one invoice value or is it of multiple invoice? Definitely multiple invoice only. Yes or no? Because in 2019, in the whole year, we might be generating multiple invoices. So all this entire data total of Indica it is showing, right? So now what my boss is expecting that I just want the number of invoices too over here. Like suppose say Indica, total 20 invoices we have generated. Then 20 invoices total is this much. So I just want the invoice count also over here. So how to get the invoice count over here? We don't have that invoice count definitely. So what we can do is over here, you can simply take this sales USD one more time into the value field area. One more sales USD2 will be coming up. You can see. Right click on that and go for, there is an option called summarize values by. Earlier we had gone for show values by. Now we'll be dealing with summarize values by. And there by default it shows sum. Instead go for count. And once you choose count with immediate effect, you could see it will be showing the number of invoices count over here. You can change the field name code over here, invoice count. So this is how, whenever there is a need, how to create all these columns over here, we got the basic understanding, right? So go for it, please. And confirm, is it working? Taking sales USD to the value field area. Right click on the newly added column header. Summarize values by and make a count selection. Change the field name invoice count. So any difficulties, do let me know.
So in this fashion, we can keep adding the revenue percentage count or any other thing which we want to add in.
Right, right. Any field you want, you can keep adding that, not a problem.
But this sales USD data will be the static value. We will keep
Obviously,
changing.
yes, that is the starting value, and you have to show that because that is your primary value, the billing column. All right, so I believe it's working. Now, just kindly look at my screen. Do you think that is this the right order to showcase our data? If you have this kind of three columns, what is the right form, right? The order of your data columns. First should be invoice count, followed by your sales USD, followed by revenue percentage. So first should be the D column, then B column, then C column. Do you agree with me? The order what I stated?
Yes.
So how to bring it on? No need to worry about, just see in the value field area, If you see the last field is of invoice count, right? Now in that field, can you see in the right corner, there is a small navigation button is there. You can select it. And then you have an option called move to beginning. So immediately it will change the order of your data. So first invoice count, then followed by USD, then followed by revenue percentage. So this is how people in pivot table number 8, we have seen how to keep creating a customized field over there by taking the same field again. And those things will be happening in the value field area. We got it. Kindly save all your files, people.
Can we move this manually also, this invoice count?
Yes, you can do that. Like this also, you can move. See, earlier we have done that, right? In the row field area, did you remember? Our month and our year, we had the fields along with the month and production columns. We have changed the fields. So all these options manually also you can do it. It's not a problem.
Okay.
All right. Any other queries from anybody? Fine. Kindly save all your workbooks. Okay. So with this, we'll go for a short break of 10 minutes. In my system, it is 4:25. 4:35 again, we'll be catching up. Okay. And we'll discuss the rest. So please have a brisk and come back soon. So I'll be in mute. I'll be back by 4:35. All right, so I believe everybody's back. Could you please respond in the chat box? Why for yes, that I can proceed.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, people. How about others? Those who have turned up, please say yes. Why for yes in the chat box. Well, Deepika, Mamta, Junaid is turned up. Okay, Mainak.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Basha, Manawar, able to hear me? All right. So here we discussed about up to our pivot table number 8. So let's do one thing. Take our mouse pointer to pivot 8. Holding the control button, drag it to the right. So you got another pivot ready, naming called pivot table number 9. Right. Now, whatever the fields we have created, like invoice count and our invoice revenue percentage, these two fields you can remove. Just drag it back in the field list box. Okay. And now what we have to do over here, just to bring our interface back, like our row wise grand total is missing. We need to bring it back. So how to bring it again? Same option, going to design, go for grand total, but here you need to go for on for rows and columns, second option. For deactivate, you can go individually, but when you want to activate, you have to go for this option. And immediately our grand total for row wise grand total will be activated. So kindly confirm all of you got your row wise grand total activated. Now, once we have done with this over here, let's see what else we can do with regard to pivot table. So now I'm going to take you through one of the beautiful concept of our pivot taking call, like how to create or how to design a dashboard or one page report in pivot table. You would have heard this terminology quite often in the corporate world. This is not an alien term for you. I know that. But what is that meaning by dashboard? What you understood by dashboard? Any idea? Anybody would like to share something? Nothing?
Dashboard is something which would give. Uh, Hello.
Yeah,
Am I
Junaid, I can
audible?
hear you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Because it can be something which is more informative and gives more than one factor within a sheet, like information of more than two, three factors within a sheet, like something
So
like that.
this report pivot table, what we have created, can I call this as a dashboard?
Like if you have more filters within it with respect to customer and product, and if you can filter out even further, the
No,
dashboard could
this,
be a
my
help.
question is the report what we have right now in pivot table number 9, isn't it a dashboard?
It is a sheet, I would say. Like,
Okay, no problem. Anybody
yeah.
else would like to share something? See, as I told you, this is not an alien term for us. We have been just working with this dashboard quite often, and people have also said to us When you take bunch of files and try to produce the same in front of your boss, what he says? What, always you are coming up with many more files? Do you think that I have got a whole day to go through all your files? Why don't you make a simple report, a one-pager report or a one file report, something? So again, in that place, he's expecting a dashboard. Sometimes while working in a team, some people also telling, hey, I have created a very beautiful dashboard. And whenever you are presenting many more information to your customer, to your stakeholder, they also in turn demand, why don't you create a dashboard? So what is the meaning by dashboard? Let's have a basic discussion about that. So any dashboard or one page of report, if you name it, it will be consisting of three elements. One, ideally there will be some drop down list will be there, which will be giving a privilege. Two, select a particular variable from the drop down. And once the variable is selected, a ready-made tabular data will be automatically populated. Once your tabular data is there, a graph or chart will be corresponding to the table also will be available. So when you have all these three elements in any report, we can classify the same as a dashboard. This is simple layman definition I made you understand. Now, I am going to take you through some real-time dashboards which will be giving more clarity what we are up to, what we are going to learn, and how this is going to be helpful. And then we'll go and work together. Don't worry. So next 5 minutes, just watch my screen, understand the concept, what we are going to discuss. See, I will take you through first one beautiful dashboard of our HR department. So I'll take you to that dashboards, HR and HR. See, a beautiful report is going to turn up, one page of report. Can you see? Multiple charts, graphs, pie, line, bar, column, everything is ready. And towards my left, all the department names are available. And the companies, wherever the presence are there, the office they are maintaining, the city names are available. And last 9 years data we have taken to analyze. And these are the employees information who are working still in our organization. And based on that, some tabular data, graphical format of data, everything is there. Everything is in one page available. Well, so this is called one of the sophisticated dashboard of our Excel. How it works, let me take you through. See, at any point of time, if you ask me, Prabhas, I just want to know what is the headcount trend in HR department. So when I go and select my department HR, this chart is going to change. Just see, if I go and select HR, is it changing? Yes. Now, if you ask me, Prabhas, in HR department, Los Angeles City, what was the headcount trend? So this is what when I go and select HR and Los Angeles, and then this chart is going to change. Just see, HR and Los Angeles. Is it changing? Yes. On a click of button, everything is happening. Now, if I want to know in HR department, Los Angeles City, during the year 2006, what was the breakup of salary? This is going to change. And based on that, this chart is going to change. Just see, human resource, Los Angeles City, 2006. Is it changing? Yes. So everything is happening on a click of button. So as I told you, this is called a sophisticated dashboard. It needs time. It's not just overnight, put the formula and get the answer. And this is just one-time investment. And trust me, nowadays, the corporates, they outsource all these things, and each and every dashboard they spend near about on an average 25 to 30K. Yes. So now look at the same scenario. At least, not like this, at least 50% of work of this kind of report, if you do also, that will be a great achievement for the company, and that will be a great asset for the industry. Do you agree with me? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right. So now how it actually works. See, to create this kind of dashboard, you must have 9 years data. It's not a joke. You have to have that, then only you can play around. And then one more sheet, 90% all the calculations, whatever we have discussed since afternoon is nothing but pivot table calculations. Now, one more sheet just to update the records on timely basis. Suppose, say, take an example, a new department I have introduced for a better internal control system. I have to keep updating the record. Anybody leaves the organizations, I need to eliminate that person's name. Anybody new joinings are there, so you have to update the records over here. And suppose say I have opened a new office in a different city. I need to keep update the records over here. I have completed a new year business. I have to update the record over here. So like this is what the backend only to update the records. And this is what the front end I can showcase the data. So this is called a beautiful HR dashboard. Okay. Now I'm going to take you through one more beautiful dashboard of our sales dashboard. Just watch my screen. See, this is again one page report of sales dashboard of one company. And you can see multiple charts and graphs, line, pie, column, bar, all these things are there. And below to that, the month details, product categories, sales representative names, and the regions. Now, any point of time as a company sales or chief marketing officer, I want to know what is the performance of Eastern Zone. I'll go and click East Coast, and this is immediately showing the data of Eastern Zone. Now, if I want to know in Eastern Zone, what is the performance of Jenny Paul? Jenny Paul is one of my salesmen. I can simply select. So this is what the performance of Jenny Paul. On a click of button, everything is happening and changing. So this is called a beautiful sales dashboard. So more or less, we are going to achieve something like this. So do you believe that it's going to help you if you learn? What's it?
Yes.
So are you interested in learning the same?
Yes.
Right. Let's go for that. So only Mamta is saying yes. How about others?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right. Thank you so much for your response. So let's go for that. Now go to our pivot table number 9. Keep your cursor above to the pivot table area. One blank row is there. You can keep your cursor. Remember one thing, the basic ground rules. For creating a dashboard, you have to make your report completely neat and clean. You have to maintain all the hygiene over there. And for that, you need to take multiple objects. And when you take multiple objects, objects alignment has to be pinpoint accurate. And you should take some objects of high definition colorful buttons because that is going to add more beauty to the report. All right. Now, having said this, keep your cursor above to the pivot table area and insert a row. How to insert a row? Alt I R. And to repeat the last action, go for keep hitting F4. So Alt I R once, rest of the cases hit your F4 or function F4 depends on your brand of laptop or the keyboard behavior. So create some 10 to 15 blank row items. Later, if you do not want, we can delete it, not a problem. Now, once it is done over there, keep your cursor in the pivot table. Next, what you need to do, go to our pivot table analyze. And in pivot table analyze, if you see, there's an option called insert slicer. In day 2, we have already discussed something a bit of that. If you remember the data presentation sheet, right? So now we are going to discuss in depth on this. Go for insert slicer. Now, when you go for insert slicer option over here, it will take you to a dialog box where you could see all the field details, whatever we had in our source data sheet. It will be turning up.
Yes.
Now, you have to follow one more rule. What is that? Whenever you are thinking to integrate your slicers with pivot table, first of all, you need to look at your pivot table first. What are the fields already taken, like year, product description, sales USD? Those fields you should not choose again as a slicer because that will be amounting as a duplication of fields and it doesn't play any role. But there is no hard and fast rule. If you want, you can take back again. So now, apart from all these 3 fields, anything else you want to work with? Suppose I want to work with my customer data. You can select customer. If I want to deal with my salesperson wise data to analyze, you can select. If I want to check my region wise data, I can take that region. If I want to take my month wise data, don't take months, just take month. So whatever I have taken, I repeat, you can cross check on your screen. Customer, salesperson, region, month. Is it selected? If yes, go and click OK. So now you can notice four slicers purpose, four boxes will be ready. Now, what we need to do is we need to select the slicer with the slicer name and we need to take it and align it just above to the pivot area, the way I'm doing it. You can do the same. So next, you can have your own order. It's not necessary that you should have mine. You can take your own order over here. Just ensure that you are a bit of careful about your alignment. So we'll go step by step confirmation. Kindly confirm once it is aligned properly the way I'm doing. Don't click anywhere inside the slicer. All right, so I believe everybody is clear.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, once we have done with this, as I told you, you need to be careful about your bit of your presentation part. Like the slicers, though it is there, but it is not giving such a great feel. So now we'll be looking at how to make a better feeling about our slicer. So we'll need to do a little bit of cosmetics works of our slicers. What is that exactly? Select one of the slicer. Can you see one slicer tab is activated in the extreme right of the ribbon button? Naming slicer, tools, options, design depends upon again the version of Excel. And in this slicer, can you see multiple settings or styles are there? Different styles are there. And if you go to the more style, it will open up with two broad categories like light and dark. Here there is no medium. So here we need to go for dark because as I told you, we need to have some high definition colorful buttons to enrich the beauty of my slide, our report. So you can click one dark color, again one more slicer, one more dark, one more slicer, one more dark color, one more slicer, one more dark color. So four slicers, four different dark colors we have populated. Right? I believe it's clear. Any difficulties, anybody?
Then
Right. How about others?
Yeah, done, sir.
Okay,
Done, sir.
great. Now, once we have done with this, though we have made the colorful changes, people, but the problem is slicers are containing this kind of scroll bars. And this is not having a great look. So how to remove the same? See the beauty. I will select one of the slicer. In the same slicer tab over there in the ribbon, we have an option called columns. And in this column section, if you look at, everyone will be having a ready-made number one only. So default option is one. You can increase the column number. What is happening? Can you see? Your entire variables of that slicer is distributing to multiple columns. So you can take 3, 4, depending upon your variables of that particular slicer. Now, though I have distributed to 4 columns, but I'm unable to read my data, no worries. We have got enough space to the right side. I can simply drag it to the right and all my data is visible. So like this, I can go for region and I'll make it of 3. Again, I'll bit extend so that my data I can read. Salesperson, I'll go for again 3. Month, I'll go for 3 again. So this is how people, whenever there is a need, how to work around with our slicers and make it visible by distributing the columns into multiple columns. All these things, we got the clarity. Kindly check all these things are working.
No. Shall I share my screen?
Yeah.
So I'm clicking here, or do I need to click
No,
outside?
no, 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 not us. Where the slicer name is there. To select any slicer, you should select the name. Then in the columns, in the slicer columns, 1 is showing. You can increase the column number. It will start
Okay.
distributing.
Yeah.
Then you can resize the window, little bit enhance to the right side, extend to the right side, more, more, more. Yes. You can still convert into one more column. One more column you can add. Yeah, now extend a bit. Right. Now go to region and make it 3 or 4, depends. Yeah. Go to salesperson. Don't make it 4 because you have got 3 will be more visible, better. Yeah, region you make it 3. You have made it 4, make it 3. Don't you able to hear me? Hello?
You're audible, sir.
I guess he has got disconnected. Anyway, so let her come back. Let's discuss. So I believe we all are clear with this, whatever we have done so far.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Now, the next part. As I told you, when you go for multiple objects, people, you need to be pinpoint accurate with regard to the alignment. So select one of the slicer with the slicer name and go for Control A. So Control A will be helping you to select the rest of the slicers also. And then you can notice there is an option in the same slicer tab called Align. Can you see one Align option is there? Like our bring forward, send backward, selection pane. After that, do you see an option called Align? And in this Align, if you click over here, we have an option. First, Align top. So go for Align top so that it will be aligned properly from the top margin. Again, go to the Align option. You have an option called Distribute horizontally. Now, why I need to go for distribute horizontally? Because the spacing between the slicers also has to be uniform. For that reason, distribute horizontally. And the moment you go for this, our slicers are ready with the proper alignment. But the last step, very, very important, don't forget, next to align, we have an option called group. And if you go and navigate that grouping button, you have an option inside a group option, able to navigate people, all of you. Same tab. Next to align, grouping will be there. And within that, you have to select group. So when you make a group, what will be happening? It will turn out to be a single object. And this is very, very essential. If you do not do this, then the entire efforts, whatever we have made, it is going to be in drain. Reason? If you do not convert into one object, tomorrow when you start working with your pivot table, the slices also start overlapping with each other. So to safeguard that, this is the final step. It is must. But the problem is, in each and every slicers in the bottom line, some empty spaces are there. So that doesn't look good. how to remove it. Just say in the bottom line, when you convert into a object, there is a button added over here. The same you can take it and hold it and drag it bit up, and ensure that while you are just dragging it up, there is no chance again you are going to get this vertical scroll bar. Then there's no point of doing this. You have to be very careful. See, in any of my slicers, there is no vertical scroll bars, and I have to stop them. So once I do this, kindly confirm.
Just tell me one thing, that horizontal one.
Yeah, selecting all the slicers, going to align, and then you have to go to align top and then distribute horizontally.
So at first we need to do this one and then we need to group it, right?
Yes, first alignment, then grouping.
I'm sharing my screen. I followed last time. Let me do control Z. It will here I did. Now I will go
One
to
minute, 1 minute. Go to month first. Go to month first. Month, you just increase one more column. Month slicer. Go to no. Don't increase one more column in the sense the column distribution. Going to the slicer. Yeah, go to the slicer tab. Increase one more column. Yes. Now resize the window a little bit. You resize. Yes. Now bring this region a little bit towards your left. Region, bring it a little bit left. You're going right. You're going right. No. No need to take this much of gap. No, Mamta, just bring it adjacent to each other. Bring salesperson towards closer to the left. Little bit close. Yes. Now region, take it a little bit close. Customer, little bit close. Now Control A. Then go to the same align over here from the slicer tab. Align.
slicer tab, align, and
Align top. First align top. First align top. Then again go to slicer align and distribute horizontally. You have no spacing. Just do one thing. Keep the cursor outside once. Click once. Take customer little bit right. Just customer alone little bit right. More. That's it. Now Control A. Now go to distribute horizontally. In the align, distribute horizontally. Now you'll be having equal spacing. Can you see that? Now it looks good, neat and clean.
yes. But
Right.
this here also there is some means it's not in readable form.
That you can extend it. If you believe it is not in a readable form, you can. No, not now. It's in now in selection, everything.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
now. You keep the cursor out. Keep the cursor out and select only customer. Select, no, don't click inside. Don't, wait. Just extend it a little bit. That's it. Now it is readable.
Yeah.
Now Control A. Now go to the slicer tab and go for again align, distribute horizontally. Right. Now go for group and make group. And
So
then from
what
the
this sorry,
yeah,
what this group is doing?
group is converting all these 4 different object into one object.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now from the bottom line, there is a button in the center. Can you see? Don't click outside. Click one of the slicer. Yeah, click there. Can you see in the
Okay.
bottom line in the center one button is there? Hold it and drag it up so that empty spaces you can remove. Drag it up. More. You have enough space. You can take it up. More. That's it. No, you are not. Again, little bit increase. Don't. Hold on. Little bit increase. Come down. Little bit increase towards down. Yes. Perfect. So now no slicer is having the vertical scroll bars. This is how you have to manipulate this. And this is what you have to practice. Because see,
Okay.
presentation is someone's art, someone's
Yeah.
creativity. And
Yeah.
how to make it more hygienic, it's up to you. But this is how the technique you need to follow. All right.
Okay. Okay.
Right. Right.
Thank you.
Fine. Welcome. No problem. So now I'll be taking the control back on the screen over here and here.
Can I
Now,
share my screen before that?
yeah.
I just wanted to show you something 1 minute. Oh. You can see my screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these months over here, which is little shadowed, like
This is
I don't know
this is
why
this
this
is
has come
because
here.
this is the reason the source data you did not manage properly. Go to the summary table data sheet. Do you remember first earlier you have 3 M's, then we changed to 4 M's? Go to summary table data sheet, summary table, the source data.
I see the source data, right?
Hmm. So somewhere go to, see your column header. If you look at the month column header, go to the filter, go to the filter. Come down. So now you have the data, all the cases, text is completely okay. Fine, great. Now escape, outcome out of that, please. Yeah. So you have anywhere any other month column? Jan 2018. Okay, 2019. Fine, fine. Come back to that pivot table where you are generating. Just go to the pivot table. Keep the cursor pivot. And what is that field you have taken in the call? Okay. Slicers. Just go for the slicers.
Like how can I see for slices? Like
Yeah, you can go to insert slicer. There you, yeah, slicer tab is there. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now keep your cursor on the pivot first. Keep your cursor on the pivot. Right click, refresh. Just do the refresh. Right. Now go to insert. Go to pivot table analyze.
pivot table
The ribbon tab.
analyze.
Yes. In that insert slicer, choose month again. Month. Yeah. Click OK. Now see, do you still get something like that?
It's still there.
Yeah. Yeah, some problem in the data first then. So we need to again rework on the part.
But if I can cover this, but I just wanted to ask you what is the issue?
No, issue is the data first, what you have taken in the table format, there was a problem. I mean, you did not take the complete string like 4 M's, you take only 3 M's. But later on, what is happening? We have not refreshed our data, and that's the same thing. It is carrying partially, it is storing the data,
Okay.
and what you changed that also been added. That's why there is a duplicacy of the month, nothing else.
And later I'll rework on this. Then I think I'll get
Yeah, I mean, you have to just again recreate. That is the moment we are taking the, because we are copying the pivot table. No, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5. We are just copying the same pivot table and we are working on that. That's why it is giving the impact. But again, if you create a fresh pivot table, this is not going to have the troubles. If you go to the summary sheet, go to the summary table sheet.
like if I can choose from here summary sheet, like if I have to go directly there.
No, you can go to summary table. I mean, if it is displaying,
But I
no,
need to
not
scroll
that,
down from
not
the
that.
left.
Yeah, there you go for right click. There you go for right click. No. Where you are navigating, right? Okay, okay. Now from this, if you want to create a pivot, keep your cursor anywhere. Go to insert, pivot table. Right. Now click OK. Right. Now take your month to the rows. Take your month to the rows. Now can you see it's coming up clean? There is no extra months over here. Can you see that?
Yes, yes.
Right. So this is the trouble because earlier you had 3 M's, some data captured.
3 just
Later we changed to 4M. Again, that data also captured.
okay, like if I want to shift from this sheet to the one which is on the starting, like can you show like if I have to do? Cause I keep scrolling from here.
Again, this is MacBook. I'm not comfortable because Mac options are already different. I have given you the list of keyboard shortcuts. You have to navigate there. Okay,
Okay, fine.
this is done. Else you can come back to your left in the left side of that Excel workbook. Excel workbook. There you go for right click. There you go for right click. Yes, you will be getting all the list of sheets. Okay.
Okay, fine, fine.
Right.
Thank you.
Welcome. No problem. So now I'll go to my screen over here, people, and you can notice we got our data ready. And then what's next? See, once I have got this data between the pivot table and this slicers, whatever the space is there, let's go and select the blank row items and go for deleting the entire rows. So once you delete the entire rows over here, now my pivot will be closely held to my slicers, not a problem. Now, once we have done with this pivot table fields which you see on my right side, it is showing all the details. This is no more playing a role. You can just close this. You can just close this. All right. Now I'm going and working with full screen. Anybody is having any issue, please unmute and speak because I'm working with the full screen. Chat box is not visible. Now the next step, what you have to do is over here, I'll tell you, keeping the cursor in pivot, go to our pivot table analyze. We have a beautiful option called pivot chart. Now go to pivot chart. It will take you to your entire chart family. And by default, clustered column is selected. Let it be. No need to do any changes. Directly go and click OK. Now a chart will be turned up. This chart, you can hold it and you can align it next to the data and extend the chart towards the right side exactly in line of your slicer. Okay. So we got our pivot chart also ready. Now, what's the beauty of pivot chart? You can see some ready-made filter buttons are available. Can you see? This is one and this is one. Have you ever seen any chart containing the filter buttons? So going forward, whenever you see a chart contains the filter buttons, it is a simple message for you. This is definitely created out of a pivot table. Maybe pivot table data might be in a different sheet and chart will be in a different sheet. That's a different story. But if at all the chart contains a filter, it's not a normal chart, it's a pivot chart. Now, having said this, select your chart and little bit chart also needs to be formatted because that doesn't look good so far. What you can do, once you select your chart, there will be a design button will be activated on your ribbon. This is the design button. And go for the more button. There are a lot of styles around, you can see. So when you go for the more button, it will take you through various styles and blindly go for the last one. So when you go for the last one, it will be taking your style, a different one, and some kind of glossy impact, some kind of shadow impact, or some kind of embossing effect with regard to the chart area you can notice. All right. So this is what the minimum formatting with regard to the styles we have to do with regard to the charts. Now, within the chart area, some unwanted grid lines are there. If you look at these are the unwanted grid lines. How to remove the same? By selecting your chart, if you look at on your chart in the right side or left side where the amount of space is there, a plus symbol will be activated. And if you click on that plus symbol, It will take you through a menu options, and there we have an option called grid lines. Checkbox is on. You can deactivate that. Okay.
How do you increase the size of this chart which you are showing expanding and increasing and decreasing? How do you do that, Prabhas?
Which one?
You just increase the size for
Like this.
highlight. Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
this. This is
yeah.
this is I'm using a external software.
Okay. Which
Yeah.
one?
The software name is Zoomit. Zoomit. It's a Microsoft product only, and you can utilize the same. You can also use, or you can use the keyboard shortcuts to zoom in or zoom out. You can write this kind of red color buttons, whatever I'm writing almost all the time to highlight something. Or if I want to write a straight line, I can do that. Or if I want to type something, I can do that. All these things you can do with that software.
So I have to download it from Microsoft, this thing.
Yes, yes, you have to download
So,
that.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome, no problem. So now I believe everyone is ready with our charts, whatever I told you.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, once this is done, whatever
No,
we
it's
did
not
so,
done.
okay, what happened?
Because I was just looking how you were doing, so I was not
Okay,
doing
do it
that
now.
one. Give
Do it
us,
now. No problem. I'm
yeah.
waiting. You can do that. I'm
And
confirming.
I just wanted to know the first step that you did before chart.
First step in the sense, like, did you remove that pivot table field box? Did you close that on the right
Yes,
side?
that I closed. And
Chart.
before that, I think you did something.
You can share your screen. Let me see what is missing.
Yeah, sure. Uh, Detail here I did.
Hmm. Now, between the slicers and pivot table, the unwanted row items you select.
Okay.
Uh, One more row also. There's one or two rows. Yes. Now close this window. Keep your cursor in pivot. Go to pivot table, analyze, pivot chart,
Pivot chart.
and then click OK.
Okay.
Now chart you can align next to the data and extend the chart exactly in line with your slicer. Whatever the slicer's alignment is there, same line. No, 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 no. Little bit reduce it. See, exactly in line with your slicer's alignment. Little bit reduce it. Now go to design again. Go to design. No, no. Select your chart. Select your chart. Go to design. Take the last tile. Last one. Yeah. Now right click. I mean the right side. This then de deactivate. Yes. Grid lines. Deactivate. Click the plus symbol again. Scroll left.
Scroll left.
No, 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 no. Don't take your chart to the left side. I'm telling your cursor to the left. You are in right now in column K and all. You have to go to column A. So just in
Okay,
the
okay, okay, okay. Wait,
bottom
wait.
right.
Yeah.
Fine. So all these things are ready. This is what we did. Now
Okay.
let's follow my screen.
Okay.
Yeah. Over here. Now the moment we have done up to this level, let's go back to my data. Okay. So far, whatever we did, people, anybody can do that. It's not something rocket science or it's not something extraordinary stuff that anybody cannot do. Anybody can do this. But now the time has come to discuss how to make our presentation different from others. First of all, whatever we have done so far is perfectly fine. But remember one thing, whenever you create this kind of dashboard or one page of report, unwanted stuffs like this formula bar, column headings, row headings, scroll bar, everything is unwanted. You have to remove that. How? Keep your cursor in a blank cell first. Then go to your view tab. You will be finding there is a section called show. Grid lines, headings, formula bar, all these checkboxes are activated or on. You can deactivate all these three. Okay, so this is the first step. Now all these things have been removed, whatever we discussed. Now this
Yes.
ribbon menu, this is what also unwanted because we are not going to navigate anymore in the ribbon tab. But we can't remove this. Only thing is we can hide or we can unhide. For that, go for Control F1 keyboard shortcut. If it is not your direct key, go with Function Control F1. This is the toggle key, people. Once to activate, again one more time to deactivate. So this is how you can notice the unwanted stuffs we have removed from our interface and what it gives a feeling like as if we have a blank page is there and entire template is embedded on that. Are you getting such kind of feeling?
Yes.
Right. So far all of you are clear, whatever we did.
Oh, what was Control F1 for?
Control F1 to hide or unhide the ribbon tab. In the
Okay.
top, the ribbon menu, it is to hide and unhide.
How did you remove the grid lines of this chart? Like,
Yeah, selecting the chart, plus symbol will turn up once you select, go to plus symbol and there is a menu and there is a grid lines checkbox is on. You have to deactivate. Now, once it is done over there, now next 2 minutes, just watch my screen. That is optional, not mandatory, but yes, you can add more beauty to the report. How? Just watch my screen. What I can do is that you can do later stage in the practicing hours, you can do that. Just for the timing, watch my screen, okay? So I can go to my data over here. I can create some blank rows about to this exactly. And then I'll go to my insert. I'll go for my shapes and there I'll go for a rectangle. And this rectangle, I will just create something like this over here. Okay. And then I will do all my necessary formattings, say over here, and I'll name it as sales dashboard. I'll increase the font size of mine. I'll make it center over here. Little bit formatting again with regard to the shape format, and I'll be doing it. Okay, just to give you a better feeling, nothing else. Something over here as well. Yeah. Now, what I'll do, I'll go to my insert. As I told you, working in 365, then definitely we are blessed. There's an option called icons. I will be taking it, and there I'll take a call of some charts. And there are various charts will be turning up over here. I'll take one chart out of this. Suppose say this is what somewhat the latest style I like it. I'll go for insert. I'll take this and I'll populate over here. And this one again, I will make it of little bit graphics fill of white color. That looks good. Now suppose say this data is belong to Tata Motors and I would like to claim that I am the employee of XYZ or Tata Motors. So what I can do, I can go to my web browser and if I there, I will be using my Tata Motors logo. So when I go for Tata Motors logo, I'm going to take this, copy, and then I will paste it over here. And this one I'll a little bit reduce it. And this is what is. So this is just a add-on. If you can do, it is a message you are giving to the audience that I am not only presenting my data, I am also claiming this data belongs to XYZ. All right. So these things during the practicing hours you can do. This is optional, not mandatory. Now, once it is ready, just watch my screen. One more important aspect is being a presenter. Remember one thing, do not ever show many more information to the audience over here in the presentation mode. The more the information you show, the more the questions you are going to invite. And you don't have the whole day to make the presentation. Meeting, how much time we get? Hardly 10 to 15 minutes. That also we get, we are blessed. And within that 15 minutes, we have to do all our homework in such a way. We need to present the information. We need to welcome all the questions and we need to give our own interpretation also over there. So we need to be very calculative on that, isn't it? So now you would have thought something, what you should do. I have to keep this pivot 9 open because that is what my core business area. But what about the rest of the sheets? Ideally, what we prefer to do? We prefer to hide them. Do you all agree?
Yes, sir.
Right. So
Yes.
when I hide all these things, I have to keep pivot 9 open. Rest of things I can hide, no issues. But take a look. Suppose say I am presenting something in the information to my audience, and while presenting something like this, by mistake or unknowingly, my pivot 9 and my mouse cursor got enabled. And when this is enabled, then definitely you can also understand that this unhide button will be also enabled. Do you agree?
Yes. Yes.
And audience is smart enough to know if unhide is activated means something is hidden. Now suppose say in front of me my vice president is sitting and he's asking a question now. Prabhas, why don't you click that unhide button? Can I say no? Can I say that, sir, whatever you are looking for, it is there in front of you. Why you are asking unwanted questions? Can I say something like that to my audience any point of time?
No.
No way. So in this case, what's the point? That I have hidden everything, but a simple on right click is making everything open now. Now, though I am not willing to show all this information, but people, since they are demanding, I have to showcase that. Now, what is happening? The entire focus from this dashboard will be removed and people will start asking the unwanted question and my presentation has gone to the back seat. So in this case, whose mistake is this? Of course, it's mine. So now the question is, what is the point of hiding the sheets in this fashion that anybody can unhide that? Hide in such a way nobody can know that what you have hidden. Where is your workings? Where is your source data? How many tables have you have created? What you have taken? Nobody except you should know. Then it makes sense. Do you all agree?
Yes.
Right. How to do that? See the beauty. You no need to hide the sheets. Don't take that much of pain. I'll tell you a beautiful concept. What you can do is you can go to your file menu, start working with me, go to the file menu. You have an option over here in the bottom. Go for that options. It will take you to your backstage view called Excel options. One dialog box is going to open. And in this, you will be finding we have an option or category called advanced. And when you go for this advanced category, there is a scroll bar in the bottom in the right side you'll be getting. And just take it towards down one section, somewhere in the middle, you will be finding display. And in this display section, there is a subsection called display options for this workbook. And in this display options for this workbook, the third tab, what it deals with, is it dealing with show sheet tabs? Able to see everybody? Right?
Yes.
So file menu, options, Excel options, advanced, scroll down somewhere in the middle, display group will turn up. Within that, display options for this workbook, and you need to deactivate show sheet tabs. And then click OK. Okay. Now see the beauty. Once you do this, what happens? Can you see? The entire sheet tabs is hidden. Nobody will be ever be knowing. So what you are going to show, people will have the watch on that. They are not going to ask any other further questions. So this is how people you can work with your interface. You can always control your information and present it effectively. Hope you got
Then
the
how
things
will I
clear.
move from sheet 1 to sheet 2, Prabhas?
Yeah, if you want to move, go for control page down, control page up, like control page down. I'm going to
Okay.
this sheet, control page up. I can come back to my original sheet.
And how did you do that? I have to go to file menu, options,
Same. Yeah, file menu. Then you go to options. And then you have to go to advanced. From the left, you have to choose the category. You have to take the scroll bar towards down somewhere in the middle. You will be finding a display options. And within that display group, there is a subsection called display options for this workbook. The third tab deals with show sheet tabs. You got to deactivate.
and for again activating, I have to click it.
Same thing, same thing. All right. So I believe everyone is clear whatever we've done so far, right? Now, next 2 minutes, just watch my screen. No need to do anything. I'll be giving time to trial on that. See, this is what I made it. My boss asked me, Prabhas, are you ready with the presentation? I said, yes. Then he has invited me to the presentation area. and he has greeted to all our delegates who were come in the meeting. And then he asked me, Prabhas, please start the show. So I just opened my presentation and I'm showing this, about to say something. My boss asked me, Prabhas, we are not interested to see the last 3 years data. Just show us only 2021. So I can simply go to my chart area over here. I can select only 2021. So this is what the story of 2021 I can showcase. Anybody who's interested to see my numbers, they can look at my pivot table. Anybody doesn't have the time, they want to have the immediate story, they can make out that from Genex Nano, I have got the maximum revenue. And from Sumo Gold, I got the least revenue. It is showing, right? Now, when I showed all these things, my next to my boss, my chief marketing officer is sitting, and his focus has gone to his people. So he asked me, Prabhas, if this is the history of 2021, can you show me the performance of Salesman 5? Well, I'll go to my salesperson slicer, SM5, I can choose, and immediately, this is what the story of SM5 for the year 2021. Now, looking at the same, he kept quiet for a while and immediately he asked one more question. What is that? Okay, if this is the history of Salesman 5 for the year 2021, can you show me his performance for the month of May? So I'll go to month slicer. We have an option called May. I can choose that and this is what the status. Only one product he has sold, that is called Hexa. To whom? To Tuli Motors. Which country? Africa. Can you see? On a click of button, everything is happening and we are turning up into a beautiful story. So this is how people, whenever you integrate your slicers with pivot table, with pivot charts, you can create a one-pager report or a dashboard. And trust me, when you present something like this, anybody, whoever is there in the meeting, they are going to appreciate your work. And sometimes some people also will ask you, Prabhas, is it all these things you have done in Excel? Because they believe this kind of presentations is possible only if you are there in Power BI. But yes, you can make it in Excel also. All right, so give it a try and check all these navigations are happening the way I showed you.
To put the sales dashboard on top, what do you click like after going?
Sorry,
Like for the sales dashboard on top, right? To get the blank cells and put.
Alt IR to
How do
insert
you?
blanks. Alt IR to insert blank row.
Like, is there any other way, like apart from keyboard?
You can go for insert blanks. You can keep the cursor in your top anywhere, right click, and you can insert. That option is always there. Or you can go to your home tab and you have got format over here. You can insert over here also.
Okay, I'll just check.
Yes, sir, that's working great.
Yeah. So now only thing is you know your data very well. You know who is your target audience. Only thing is you have to play around with your data and which data gives a immense view or look or feel. You have to take a call of that. Techniques remains the same. Only thing is you have to get a hang on the same by practicing well. And trust me, these things alone, if you do it better, you can make a lot of difference at your workplace.
And for the sales dashboard on top, you took a shape and you pasted it and you wrote it in it, right?
Yes, insert
Okay,
shapes.
sir.
Then I type the text. I have increased the text. I have made it center.
Okay, sir.
All right. So anybody is having any queries on this point? All clear? Whatever we discussed?
Yes,
Right.
at the end, I will ask few of the queries.
Okay. Fine then. So now once it is done, how to restore our data? As we discussed already in day two, wherever you have the slicers to restore your data, you need to go on clear filter. In the top right corner, clear filter is there. You have to keep clicking. So automatically your data will start restoring. Then in the chart, we have to clear chart filter also. Then what are the other things we have to bring it back? The sheet tabs, same fashion, going to file, options, where to go? Advanced, scroll bar a little bit down, display. Within that, display options for this workbook, show sheet tabs. And that you have to activate and click OK. All the sheet tabs will be available. Now, what are the other things needs to be activated? Like keeping your cursor in a blank cell, going to the view tab. What are the things we have deactivated? Did you remember? Is the grid lines, headings, formula bar. You got to activate all these three checkboxes. So this is what the story of our pivot table number 9. Helpful? Make sense?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now we are going to discuss over here.
How to bring back the ribbons?
You want to bring the ribbons. Control F1, the keyboard shortcut, or
Okay.
function Control F1 depends.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now go to our pivot table number 6. Go to pivot table number 6. Select the tab pivot 6 and holding the control button, drag it to the right. So you got another pivot table ready, naming called pivot table number 10. All right. Now, once it is ready, let us first keep our cursor in the pivot table. If you feel that pivot table fields from the right side window box is missing, don't worry. Right click on the pivot table. You have an option called show field list. And once you click that, your pivot table box will be on. So this is the first thing. Now, if you look at our pivot table, a salesperson field is already activated. Please deactivate salesperson field. All right. So kindly confirm all of you have got your data structure ready in this format, the way I'm designing and showing it.
Can you repeat once again?
Have you got your salesperson field deactivated?
Okay, only.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then this pivot table fields is getting displayed on the screen.
Yes, yes.
Right. Now, in this case over here, take a look. So far, if you remember, if you notice, since afternoon, in each and every worksheet, we have a unique pivot table. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So as a layman, if I say one worksheet, one pivot table we have dealt with. What if any point of time I need to deal with multiple pivot table, or I need to work with multiple data over there or multiple story over there, and how to present those data? That's what we are going to discuss now. So let's go for it. Keep your cursor in the first pivot table and select everything, Control A. Copy that and leaving one or two rows down, paste it. So now I have got two pivot tables. All right. So if I ask you, what is your opinion? Is this two different pivot table or is it the same?
It's the same.
Two different.
It's both. It is two different table by nature. It is same by information. I repeat, it is two different pivot table by nature, but it is same by information. So how to confirm that these are two different pivot tables? Just see. If you remember the moment we started our training program, I told you that each and every pivot table, they have their own unique name, right? So what we can do, just go to our first pivot table, right click upon that. You will be finding over here from the bottom, second option, pivot table options. And when you go for pivot table options over here, you will be finding in the dialog box, it is showing the name. It may be differing from case to case, but remember, this is showing a name over here. Is it showing? Just check it out. So for me, it is showing pivot table 1. For you, it may be 1 or may be different. Don't worry, but remember that name just for the time being. Now, go to below pivot table again and keep your cursor. Okay. Go to below pivot table and keep your cursor. Right click, pivot table options. Is it showing something different? Just see.
Yes, sir.
So for me, it is showing pivot table number 12. For you, it may be 2 or 5 or 6, could be the case, but don't worry, definitely that's a different name from the earlier one. So now having said this, now we have understood these are two different pivot tables by nature, but information was same. So there is no point having the information over here the same. So what we can do, keep our cursor below pivot table and deactivate the product description. Deactivate the product description from the pivot table field list box and bring customer in the row area. So one pivot table having the product wise last 3 years revenue, the other one having customer wise last 3 years revenue. All right. But to differentiate, keep your cursor in the second pivot table, go to design and take a different style so that we can easily identify that these are two different pivot tables. All right. So kindly save all your workbooks and confirm all of you have done up to this level. Clear? Can I take that?
Yes, sir.
Right. So now just focus on my below pivot table. Very, very important concept I'm going to take you through. The moment I have taken customer wise last 3 years revenue, since I have got maximum 15 customers, I can showcase the data. But in the real time, in any industry, wherever you are working with, do you have any limitations or restrictions with regard to the customers that your organizations can deal with only 20 customers? Is it something, some kind of contract we sign with our register of companies? Do we do that?
Yes.
Yes. In your organization, do you have a limitations of customers that you can work only with 20 customers? Is it some kind of
N-
any kind of contract you sign with anybody in the government body?
No, no.
Right.
But there are means registered vendors or registered customers that for
That
that.
is different. That is different. But again, registration also, do you sign any contract with our either MSME or in the register of companies? Do you sign any contract that XYZ Limited can deal only with 20 customers? Is there any kind of limitations?
No.
That's what I'm talking about. So now, if you talk about a real-time data, when you take customers, it might be having 200 customers or maybe more than that if you're working globally. Then what is the point of taking a pivot table having 200 line items? How to present it? So in this case, remember one thing, people, you no need to take the entire data. And even though you have taken also, our audience is not interested to see your whole data and they don't have time even. So what people want, what people are expecting, where they are having the interest, just see. If you go to our below pivot table over here, you have the customer filter is there. Okay. And there we have an option called value filter. So when you go to the value filter in the bottom, you'll be finding top 10. And when you go for top 10, here you can go for top 5. So this is what people are expecting. Out of large number of data or large number of line items, only top 5, top 3, top 10, bottom 5, bottom 3, bottom 10. People are interested to see. That is what we have to show. So once I select all these things and click OK, my top 5 customers I see now, right? So my table become precise. So one table with product description, product wise last 3 years revenue. The other one customer wise last 3 years revenue. Is it clear? Great. Now this pivot table fields, it is no longer required. You can close this. Now, keeping your cursor in the first pivot table, go for pivot table analyze and pivot chart. Nothing new. 10 minutes back only we did all these things and click OK. Now the chart, whatever it appears, leave some space towards your right side from the data to the chart and extend the chart like this. Okay. Similarly, go to the below pivot table analyze, pivot chart, and that also click OK. That also you bring it in this format and you can populate it. Now you can do all your necessary formattings like going to design, take the last tile and remove the grid lines, what we did in the previous step. Again over here, design, taking the last tile and then going to over here, grid lines. Right? So two pivot table, two pivot charts are ready. Kindly confirm with all this setup.
Can you please tell me like how to create a pivot chart once again?
Keeping the cursor in pivot, going to pivot table analyze tab, we have a pivot chart option over here.
Yeah, got it.
Then select and click OK.
Yeah.
Actually, my internet I had an issue with my internet. So you just created two graphs, right?
Right, from two pivot table, two graphs. But did you get this customer only top 5 customers?
Oh no. So I have to so I have to sort that first.
No, not sort. You need to go to that customer filter, and then you need to go for value filter top 10. Instead of top 10, once you click, you have to go for top 5.
Okay. How do I get top 5? Like I see top 10 written on there.
Yeah, that's what you have to go for top 10. You click that, then this kind of dialog box will come. There you have to customize
Got
instead
it,
of
got it. Got it. Okay. Okay, thank you. I got it.
Yep, no problem.
Going, just 1 second, I'm sharing. So grid lines of this chart have disappeared, but grid lines of this chart not disappearing.
You go to plus symbol, click the plus symbol, then go for grid lines.
Yeah, I have already
Okay.
deselected,
Now it has gone. Just see.
but again it is appearing.
Okay,
Like this.
okay, hold on. I'll tell you. But this chart over here, select the chart.
Yeah.
Right. Now go to that plus symbol again. Activate grid lines. And now deactivate. Now you
Okay.
got? Right.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, welcome. All right. So now we have got two pivot table. We have got two pivot charts ready. Now keep your cursor in the first pivot table. I believe my screen is visible.
Yes.
Right. Go to pivot table analyze, and we have an option called insert slicer. This is what also we have discussed in the previous pivot table. And there you go. Suppose I would like to see my region wise data. So select or activate the region slicer. And then click OK. Now this region slicer, you can align it within the data range, whatever you have created between the slicers and between the data table or pivot table and pivot chart. We can align them, not a problem. And you can do all your necessary corrections or like a formattings and all. It is up to you how to do it. I don't need to say that. So slicer is ready. Can you please confirm, people? Is it ready?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Now, once it is ready over here, next 1 minute, just watch my screen. See, I am trying to operate now. Suppose I would like to see what is the status of my UK. If I want to know my Africa data, which pivot is getting impact? Is it only the pivot table number 1?
Yes.
Right. So what is the point of keeping the data static in this form, creating one more pivot table, one more pivot chart? It is not having any kind of impact. So there is no point presenting our data having in this format. So what you can do now, start working with me. Select that slicer with the slicer name. Select that slicer with the slicer name. Right click on that. You'll be finding one option called Report Connections. Report Connections. And once you click this, it will take you to a dialog box where you could see the list of pivot tables will be populated over here. Now, only that pivot table which is connected to that slicer, that checkbox is activated. And exactly below to that, I have got the pivot table number 12. That checkbox is not activated. I have to only just activate the checkbox. So automatically what will be happening, that pivot table also going to get connected with the same slicer. That's it. Now see the beauty when I click OK. If I need my data of UK, this is what the UK status. Only 1 year is there, 2019 there is a business, and these are my top 5 customers for UK. If I want to see the data of Russia, this is my Russia data. If I want to see my Australia data, this is my Australia data. If I want to see the data of USA, this is my USA data. And once the data presentation is over, I want to restore everything, clear the filter. See the beauty. So this is how you can work with multiple pivot tables at any point of time if you need it over there by creating a slices connections over there. So this is more or less give you a feel of a BI model, business intelligence model. On a click of button, everything is happening. All right. So kindly confirm everybody is able to navigate the report just like me, what I showed you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. Fine then. So this is it from our day 3 side, people. We have discussed a lot of things. Only thing is now you have to take your live data, keep practicing upon the same, and you need to get the same feel. And for your
Prabhas,
information, mm-hmm,
I'm sharing my screen.
mm-hmm.
This one, I went to this right click, okay, and this one, right, and
No, no, no.
report
Yes,
connections, right?
right.
So it's coming like this. So how can I get that this is pivot 2 or pivot 3? How can I get which number is this one?
No, first you deactivate what you have activated. First you deactivate now. First, which one you have deactivated? No, no, not all. Not all. By
Uh,
default, what it was that you keep it as it is. Now cancel. Okay. Now go for.
yeah,
No,
wait.
no, 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 no.
Till here only I did. Let's wait. Expand it because I did no selections.
No problem.
Previously,
No problem.
nothing was
No problem. Hold
selected.
on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Now do one thing. Just keep your cursor in the below pivot table where the customer's data is there. Right click on that. Go to pivot table options from the bottom second one. Now in the box, what is the number it is showing? In the top. In the
12,
top,
12,
12.
12, 12.
So this is your below pivot
Okay,
table
okay,
number
okay,
is
okay.
12. Now go to
Mm-hmm.
that slicer, close this, slicers
Uh,
report connections.
okay, below it is.
Now activate the first one. This is already activated. Yes. Now
Fine.
click OK.
Okay.
Now operate through your slice. Any slicer you click the options, and this will be giving impact to both the pivot tables.
Yes, yes,
Right.
yes. Got it.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. No problem.
Prabhas, I have
Mm.
one, two queries.
Uh-huh.
Like as you have shown the multiple options in slicer, we can
Right.
increase column 1, 2, 3, 4.
Uh-huh.
Similar options are there in filter. Suppose multiple filters are appearing in the top. Then I
Mhm.
want to distribute those filter into horizontal column. Then that option is also there. Or
No,
will
filter
you?
one says which filter you are talking about.
Suppose I have put the region, customer, vehicle model name in filter. Multiple filters are there, one below other. So now I
Multiple
want to
report filter you're talking about or slicer you're talking about?
report
No,
filter.
report filter. No, report filter cannot be horizontal, vertical. It will be always the vertical only.
But they can be distributed. Now I have seen somewhere. Just one
That is
second.
that is what the slicer. That is what the slicer only can be distributed.
Just one second. I will show it
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhas, I have a query on this one header, sales dashboard. The header I was trying, actually, I was practically trying that.
Just hold on, hold on. Let me clear one. I'll come back to you.
Sure, sure,
Suppose I
sure,
have
sure.
these multiple
Aditya,
filters.
Aditya, you share your screen please again because that has been overridden.
Is it visible now?
Yeah,
Suppose I have these multiple filters. One more filter
right,
I'll
right,
like
right,
region.
right.
So these are like vertically they are appearing. Suppose I want to distribute them horizontally. And is it possible to do
No,
it?
no.
Because I
You
have
can,
seen in my office somebody was doing it. Multiple suppose filters are appearing. Suppose 10, 20 filters are there in the top.
right.
Then seen somebody doing it.
No,
So
it will never be. If it is a pivot filter, report filter, it cannot be because this is the default pattern of your report filter. That might be your slicers. He would be operating through the slicers.
no,
That can
but
be
in the similar fashion, what he has done, he has brought these columns to column C, D, E. Some of them, not all of them. In this column C, D, E, F, in this way, what he has distributed these filters, so that it was looking nice in that way.
better you
Can it?
can show me the report. Better you can show me the report. I can come to a conclusion because this cannot be done, first of all. Because
Okay.
pivot doesn't allow you to go and report filter, make it to horizontal to vertical, vertical to horizontal. You cannot do that.
Okay. Can I bring this month into column C and D by dragging it?
No, you no
If,
need to bring it. You can create the slicer. Why you are creating that over here? You can bring the slicer and you can keep it there.
okay.
You now I'll tell you. You just do one thing.
Okay.
Put the cursor in the pivot. Keep the cursor in the pivot. Go to
Here,
slicer. Anywhere in the pivot. Go to slicer.
insert slicer.
Pivot. Insert slicer. Go for month. Okay. Now month you distribute to say only one. Just show one. Make it of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So just make it of 6 column. No. In the slicer tab, in the ribbon, columns is there. No, you distribute for 12. 2, 3, 4. Again 1. Again 1. Right. One more. If you want also. Now you can extend it. Now you can extend it. The moment you extend, it will show as if you have everything you have got it over here. Okay. You can a little bit increase also from the bottom side.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Even you
in
go
this
for more.
similar fashion, he has shown this thing. Yeah, as you are
Right.
showing in slicer, na?
Right, absolutely. That is what I'm telling. It is done through slicers. It is not a ready-made filter option. It's a slicer.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. All right. So I believe now that